Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Devil Experience. My name is Eric. Hope you're all doing well. It's good to be back in our regular, normal settings. It's been quite a long time, a little bit over 2 months to be exactly, but we are back. We are back again. So, show is going to be back on track as normal prior to my long-stated vacation. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody is doing good. Hope everybody had a, good, nice summer. A lot of things to do and stuff like that. Of course, it's the international break, so there's a little bit, not much going on in terms of news. We got some light updates. The transfer market's still open in some places. Potentially, maybe Andre Onana or Bender could possibly be leaving Manchester United. There's still Tyrell Malacia is still at the club too. Potentially might be going to Turkey. We'll get talking to that, but it's the Friday freestyle. We're just gonna do a lot of opinions, a lot of sort of random sort of Manchester United topics, bounce around a little bit, get your guys' opinion. Heavy focused on the chat today and what you guys want to talk about. So before we get into the show, please make sure you smash the like button because it helps the channel grow. And I don't just say that just to say it. It does actually help a lot. So if you could take 2 seconds and hit that like button as many as you can, that is the best thing possible. So thank you for that. If you're new and you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe if you enjoy the content. And if you do subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell icon so you get the notifications when we go live so you don't miss a minute of the show and you stay up to date with all the content. But pretty much, I'm just going to jump straight into a couple things here. So minor updates. Obviously, there's some things going on around injury. Matheus Cunha is one. He obviously pulled a hamstring in the last match, which isn't good because we need him, and he looks like a very good signing so far. Him and Mbeumo, you can tell already the difference that Cunha makes on the pitch. I think in that Burnley game specifically, we seemed a little bit more flat after Cunha came off, and just in terms of sort of desire and a little bit of fire. He adds a little bit of edge to our team. So we're keeping an eye on that. Apparently Mount has also been added to the injury list in that Burnley game. He came off at halftime. It might have been a little bit more precautionary than something more serious. And we'll get into that as well. But one that's sort of fresh that many people might have not seen yet or might not be necessarily aware of is Diogo Dalot. Apparently, Manchester United have been dealt another injury setback during the international break, with Diogo Dalot withdrawing from Portugal duty. The versatile defender had featured in all 3 of United's Premier League matches so far, but was forced to pull out of Roberto Martinez's squad, with the Portuguese Football Federation described as a muscle discomfort. So there's also a statement confirmed Dalot has been released by Portugal's Health and Performance Unit, with Nuno Tavares called in as his replacement. So yeah, he might be in the doubt for the Manchester City derby and maybe Chelsea. I mean, they haven't really given any details on the extent of it. Although muscle discomfort doesn't sound like it's that major of a deal. Maybe again they're just being precautionary. It's early in the season. And maybe him, Ruben, and I guess maybe his team made a call on it and was just like, you know what, don't want to risk it. Season just getting started. Why would you want to risk being out for or sustaining a greater injury and being out for weeks and weeks when the season just started? So there's going to be plenty of more matches to play for Portugal for him. So we'll see if we get an update on that. One of them, obviously, I just talked about is Cunha, which is that he pulled his hamstring. And he obviously hasn't gone to Brazil for the World Cup qualifiers. And yeah, we didn't want the update about that. Where is it? Matheus Cunha's injury isn't as serious as first feared after initial scans, which is good. Cunha did some light upper body gym work today. That was was a few days ago. That was September 2nd. This was from September 2nd. United have agreed for him to stay and recover in Carrington. Extent or exact type not known yet. So I do think that he's not going to make it for the City game. I don't think he'll probably actually make it for the Chelsea game either. I think he's going to miss both matches. If it is it's a hamstring injury, there's different levels or grades to the hamstring injury. I think there's about four or five levels. And I think while it's not while they state it's not as serious as first feared after initial scans, it's still a hamstring injury, and that still takes a couple weeks. So I don't think I think he won't make it for the City game for sure. And we shouldn't rush him back if he's not, cleared by the doctors. Like, if it's in their opinion that there's some type of a risk, it's 25%. I don't think it's a good risk to take. Maybe he could come back for the Chelsea one if it's not that bad. Maybe it's minor. But to me, out of all the players so far that are kind of on this mini injury list that we got going on after the first 3 matches, he's obviously the biggest loss. Again, I think from what I've seen from him in the first 3 actual Premier League matches, he adds this bit of bite, this bit of flair to the squad. And when he came off, I felt like we lost a little bit of bite in the match. He has a certain bit of fire, and also he's just good, like, ability wise. And it's also a bit shitty because you need Cunha, Sesko, and Mbeumo to be playing as many games as possible together so that they can get the correct chemistry and start clicking up there, because we need them to click. We need them to score. So, but shout out to the chat. Box is here. Box is back. Bring back the multi-decorum background. It says, yo, Eric, what's up, Box? Lyle's here as well. It says, hey, Eric and all you Reds. Big up, Lyle. Yes. Lyle says, welcome back. Glad to see you survive prison. I did. I'm like Michael Schofield. I broke out of there. Dug my way out. And we're back. Lyle says, we have cover for Cunha. He should not be rushed. Yeah, we do. I mean, that's one of the things that we talked about. That we do have an abundance of 10s. And we do have abundance of players that can play there. I think in terms of putting somebody in the position, we definitely have cover for it, Lyle. 110%. We don't have it, but it's not the same. It's not the same. There's not somebody, I could already tell with Cunha, we don't have somebody necessarily that has that personality, and we don't necessarily have somebody with that type of build and ability. So we're gonna have to adapt a little bit. We should be able to adapt. But we got 2 big matches, 2 very, very big matches coming up on our hands. I would have loved for him to be available. He's not. We're gonna have to manage. So we do have players to put there. It's not like, we're under. It's not like we're understaffed, I guess. In that department. It's just that, it just doesn't really hit the same, does it? But I think that in terms of the 2 matches coming up, I think Manchester City, we can beat them. I don't think City look great. I said this a couple times, mostly to my friends. I don't think we talked about it on the show, but I've been saying before the season started, I don't think City are going to be City. Like, half of the starting 11 that they signed in 2025. They're in a rebuild, and Pep has never rebuilt his own team in his managerial career. So he's never had to do what Ferguson did about like 6-7 times throughout his tenure. And I think this is a big test for him, and also for City. And I think we've seen in some of the couple performances with them, they are not this City that was dominating a few years back ago. There are holes in their team. We have our own problems and we have our own issues that obviously we have to get over ourselves and solve. But I think we can. I think we can. I think we can beat them in that match. I think it's a match that we can win. I think the Chelsea match is a little bit more difficult. Now they are. I think they're still without Palmer. I don't know how long Palmer's out for, but I think Chelsea are probably a little bit more at the moment in time. I think they're a little bit more well put together than City are. I think they're a little bit stronger. And I think I think the Chelsea match will be a more difficult match. But couple more things that we'll get into, and then I got a couple of opinion pieces that I want to, ask the chat and ask for your opinions on, because I've seen some things. But obviously one of the biggest topics has been, and still is, because we're still dealing with it, is the goalkeeping situation. Obviously we signed Lemans, however you say his name, Lemons. I gotta watch that video Lyle sent me to how you pronounce his name, because I didn't watch it, so I have no clue how do you pronounce it. But we had a couple updates surrounding the goalkeepers, like, Andre Onana and Binder. The Turkish and Saudi Arabia transfer window are still open. We can sell them to those clubs if clubs come in and put in a bid and we accept the bid. So Graham Bailey dropped us a update. I think this was earlier today, saying that Andre Onana may drop to Manchester United's third choice goalkeeper with Binder ahead of him. United have told Onana he can seek a new club, preferring a loan, but open to a sale. Galatasaray and other Turkish clubs are interested with growing attention from Saudi Arabia. And then another update from Graham Bailey is that, or the follow-up to that, is basically that Onana has been told that he can leave United. Loan, most likely, a club open to sale. Galatasaray are interested, and Saudi clubs are circling. And then there was an update. And there was an update that pretty much, there was one update from a day or two ago that first it was Onana and Amorim's relationship was good. Then there was an update that came out and said that it's broken down and it's destroyed. Now, Fabrizio Romano came out and put out the update saying that Andre Onana and Ruben Amorim still have a good relationship. Amorim is very clear with his messaging that whoever wants to play must perform at the best level, not just for Onana, but for all his players. I mean, he's been very clear on that messaging, so I think that's fair. He's always said that. And it's not just about the goalkeepers. He said it across the board to all different positions and different players. And I think he's also shown that quite a lot during his time here. But yeah, the goalkeeper, listen, I know a few of you wanted Lemans, right? And we got him. I think Box was one. Box was one that really wanted him. My thing is, I don't know nothing about him. I don't. I've never watched him play. I refuse to watch clips. I don't like clips. I'm not a clip guy. I refuse to watch the clips. I refuse to watch the compilations. I want to see him play for Manchester United in a Manchester United kit, and I'll see how good he is. I'm a bit worried because I just don't know anything about him. He's a young guy, and the position at Manchester United is one, I mean, Manchester United's scrutiny as it is, but currently at the moment, the goalkeeping position has been one that has been very, very scrutinized. I mean, our goalkeeping situation is currently, I mean, our football club, but our goalkeeping position is one that is literally a joke of the entire league. Everybody's making fun of our goalkeepers. Everybody's making fun of Onana for how bad he is. They're getting on to Binder now because he's made a couple mistakes and stuff like that. So I worry a little bit because he's a young guy. You need to be able to handle this pressure. I hope he can. That has to come with the recruitment team. And, what they do in the recruiting in terms of scouting the profile of the player, in terms of ability, but also mentality and attitude and stuff like that. So I hope the kid is good enough. I hope when he gets his opportunity to start, I hope it goes well. I hope it doesn't start with a shitty mistake, um, because I think if it starts in that way, um, it's going to make me a little bit more nervous, because we keep talking about how United is United, and it takes a certain type of profile of player, and persons to be at this football club. And if you don't fit that bill, Manchester, it will eat you up. It will swallow you up. It will literally, you will crumble. And we've seen that exacerbated more in recent times because we've been in a very bad position. So it's even harder than it was, because you can argue, listen, when we're at the peak, it's very, very tough competition. When we had the Keanes, the Beckhams, the Ronaldos, the Scholes, the Carricks, the Giggses, the Rooneys, you know, Nani's and all that stuff, to come in there, it's not a walk in the park. These are winners. These are warriors. And it's very hard competition, and you got to be able to survive that. But the environment was a little bit better because it was a strong molded winning place, and it made it just a slight bit easier to deal with the outside noise, the scrutiny. Now, because we are losers, and we are not where we used to be, it's, in my opinion, it's worse. Because it makes everything much more difficult. The team is in a very, like, low place. And it's basically, you're in a situation like, you will get kicked when you're down. Like, they will kick you when you go down. And it's much easier to go down because we're not winning matches, if we're not performing well. They're already on top of us. So I hope that the kid can do good, because we need to fix this situation, and my hope, I guess, going forward, that I see kind of interesting. I'm not sold on being there. I don't like being there in terms of, do I think he can be the guy? I don't think he can be the guy. I don't think he is the guy. I will give him credit because I think he's improved on his kicking. And I've said multiple times last season, the guy can't kick a ball. He had 2 left feet. He's improved on his distribution in terms of long kicking, even with his feet a little bit, because he used to get the ball on his feet. He used to give it straight to the opposition. He's done better in that aspect. So he's clearly been practicing with that. He's clearly been doing training on that. He's clearly improved in that aspect. But he just doesn't do it for me. He doesn't. Now, if I had to pick between him and Onana, I've seen enough of Onana. I'm done with Onana. I think Onana has no more chances. So at this current moment in time, I would go for Lemaine's probably getting the starting, or given the opportunity to take the starting, depending on how he performs. I would look to get Onana out of this football club, and I would keep Biender here for the time being. And then probably the move I would make is, I think, and many people want Vitek, but I think Vitek, obviously on loan, he just got man of the match, I believe, in the last match. I think the move for next season would be to have Lemens and Vitek as 1 and 2 and have them fight it out. You have 2 young goalkeepers. Hopefully they can both be very good, but they'll both be for the future as well. And get rid of Biender as well. I think I would take these 2 goalkeepers over the 2 goalkeepers we have, kind of rearrange that and move forward with that. But that's one that's for a little bit later. Magnifico88 is here. Says, yo, boss. What's up, Magnifico? How you doing? He says, all stats suggest United one of the best teams in the league so far. Well, I'm going to get to that point, and I like that you bring that up. Magnificent says, results not showing that, but long term, if we keep playing that way, it will. And And you know what? Without looking at the stats, because I'm not really a stats guy, right? And I've seen some of the stats you're talking about floating around on social media, specifically on X. I've seen that. I've seen these things. I haven't looked at them too much. I don't really love the stats thing as like your number one argument. It's not for me. But I will say, just from the 3 matches that I've watched, I've watched us play 4, but the 3 matches in the Prem, let's forget about the other one. We are playing. I don't want to like hype it up too. We're playing okay. Like we're doing better in certain aspects in terms of like build up. We're creating a lot of chances. We're still not converting the chances, which is a huge issue. Because I've always said, back to Ten Hag, we need to score. You need to score to win games. If you can't score, we're not going to win matches. We're not going to get the points. We're not going to go anywhere. We need to score. But build-up wise, we are creating a lot of chances. We're looking a little bit sharper in terms of attack. I think one of the things we need to do is we need to sustain for a longer period of time throughout the match. We need to sustain the intensity of attacking in the transition. There's sometimes we look very sharp and we look very good. One-touch passes, triangles, and we're up the opposition half and we're going. And then there's a good 20-25 minute period where we kind of fall off in the match. And we need to learn how to sustain the intensity of doing those good things that we are doing. I think that's one of our problems. We're not there yet. I think we've improved slightly, but we have to keep improving. We have to keep improving. I like some of the things I see from the team, but there's still a lot of issues here and there all around the pitch that need to be cleaned up, tidied up for us to become a team that's actually taken a little bit more serious and instills a bit more fear into the opposition. You know, one of the things that has been eroded over the past 12 years for us is that fear factor. Somewhere along the line, after a few years, we lost that fear factor. And you can't have that because, you know, I think it was Phil Jones the other day was talking, and you could think whatever you want about Phil Jones, but he did say, like, you know, when we were at our peak, when we were there, he was like, it might sound a bit, you know, I don't know what the word was, cliche or something like that, but essentially he said that, you know, when we were at that period, we basically already won the match before we went on the pitch because of the mentality that our players had, the way the squad was built together, but then also like the opposition knew you're playing Manchester United. There was a fear factor. The teams were afraid to go on the pitch and play against us. They knew that we were going to go out there and score. They knew we had players that were clinical. They knew that we get the job done. And we've lost that along the way. So one of the things, or one of the tasks, or one of the challenges that this current United team faces, and specifically it goes into Ruben Amorim, is he has to try and figure out how to create that again. Because every team that challenges for the title, or wins the title, or wins the Champions League, they have that. They have that. They have that characteristic in their current squad. So like Lyle said, you know, stats are looking decent. We just need to get the results to complement those stats. And I think like it can happen and it can come, and I hope it does. But until it starts happening, you know, we're not there yet. So we gotta figure out, or Ruben, is his job is to unlock that. It's his job is to unlock that aspect. Now, look, we've gotten in basically 4 out of the 5 positions. We didn't get a midfielder. I think that might be very troublesome later down the line. Again, I think one of the only things, and some people try to downplay this, some people try to play it up very high. I think it's somewhere around the middle. It might be a bit 50-50. It could go either way. We're out of the Carabao Cup already, which is, I don't want to be, but we're out of it. So we're done with that. That's one less competition, and we're not in Europe. So we're not playing a lot of matches. The whole debate has been, we play less matches. We should have more time on the training pitch. It should help us out. It could help us out. I hope it does help us out. I hope that is a mitigating factor that actually goes in our favor. The midfield is one where I don't know. To me, it's a 50-50. I think it's a bit of a gamble because I think it's make or break. I think we've all concerned about the midfield. We clearly didn't get one. We're not going to get one. Maybe we get one in January, but maybe it's too late by then. Maybe we don't get one in January. But it's a bit of a big gamble because that midfield in the 3 matches I watched, it doesn't look right and it doesn't feel right. And I don't know if you can fix it with what we have. I don't know if he can get it to operate in an efficient way with what we currently have. So I hope he can, but I think it's something that might be like a very important factor in how this is going to go this season. But it's you know, it's titled make or break. It is. The pressure is on him. We've talked about this from the end of last season, the way things went. He's had his transfer window. He's got the preseason. I think there's some encouraging signs. There's some worrying signs. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you're at Manchester United and you're getting paid the big bucks and you're on the world stage. And if you deserve to belong here, you have to earn it. So it's not a walk in the park for him. It was never going to be, and it's not going to be for anybody that's here. But the pressure's already a little bit on him. It's not the best start. He saved himself with the Burnley thing, because if we drew that game, it would have really been on him. Because it would have been a terrible 3-game start. You got City coming up and Chelsea coming up. Things could change. Because if he beats City, the feeling changed. And if you go into Chelsea and you get a good result, maybe a draw, maybe a win, then it's flipped around. And there's a lot to play. But he's not going to have the time that I think many people still think he needs if he can't buy himself the time. And the only way he buys himself the time is getting the results. So now, one of the things that's kind of been bothering me a little bit is I don't really like this whole, listen, he's gotten power, and I think he's had more backing than any recent manager in recent times, in terms of he came in and he said, Rashford, you're a problem. And Rashford has been removed, essentially, right? He's even gone so far to do with Garnacho, one that's a young guy, that some people were happy to get rid of. Some people weren't happy to get rid of because he's young and they wanted to see him continue to grow. But basically, anybody that he's come in and sort of pinpointed and said, you're a problem, the club has done what they have, could do to get rid of them, to move them out. The thing is that I don't like is that we're in this weird situation where, because last season went so bad, there is an aspect and an element, and I'm not saying that this is what the players are doing, but there is this weird element that basically, if the players don't like him or they want to outlast him, all they got to do really is not really perform this season. If they don't perform, I mean, there's no guarantee, but it seems like he'll probably lose his job. I mean, Ineos might double down and be like, no, but I don't necessarily like this aspect that we have going on, because even him making some comments, and I understand what he's saying, but you know, after the Grimsby Town match, he made a comment like he was going to walk away. And then he kind of came back and rectified and was like, listen, that's just like the emotions of the game. I was emotional. Sometimes I feel like I want to leave. Sometimes I feel like I want to be here for 20 years, but I'm here and we got the next match coming up. And he kind of rectified it a little bit. But I don't necessarily like that aspect that there's a bit that creeps in that this manager could be gone at a certain point in this season. And I don't think that's a good dynamic for our football club to have, because we've been down through this road before with players that get to a certain point and they give up. They stop believing in the manager. They're down tools. They don't try. They've already accepted that it's over. And they just basically they lend a hand in putting the manager out of their misery, pretty much. And I don't think that's necessarily a good dynamic. But yeah. Magnifico says he'll bring the glory days again song back him. Well, I hope so. But again, it's up to him. I say the same thing I said to Ten Hag that I'll say to him. You gotta buy yourself time. And the only way you buy yourself time is by winning the matches and getting the points and keeping us in a good position. So it's his job now. It's in his hands. If he can do it, fantastic. If not, I worry where we're gonna be. But Lyle says I wouldn't be mad if he can get some sort of an extension and perhaps a player coach role as our third goalkeeper. Yeah, especially now if we like loan or sell Onana, at the current situation, if you give an extension to Heaton for this season, and do third goalkeeper, or maybe for next season as well. Yeah, because I mean, third goalkeeper's third goalkeeper. You don't really need to go down. You don't really go down that pecking order. You usually go to first and second. Third is very rare. So I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Wheeling 04 saying Lyle third choice keeper, Heaton, what you want about? Well, he's saying because Heaton is still there, and if we get rid of Onana, we'll have Lemons, Binder, and then I guess a third would be Heaton, for the time being. So Grace sends a super chat. Grace, how you doing, Grace? Says they finally let you out of jail. Be good this time. I might go back. No, I'm joking. But yeah. Yeah, it's good to be back. Again, this setting, good to be back at the setting because now we have a stable connection. We got a good microphone. We got the proper lighting and all that stuff. But I will remind everybody, I'm working on a real background. Not this. So I'm gonna get that up and running for the new season. And hopefully it'll be good. I'm gonna decorate it. United decorations, some LED lights and stuff like that. So it should be good. Magnifico says it was mentality. That's why we got away with playing Gibson, Fabio, etc., and still easily won games. Yeah, a lot of it had to be with mentality. You'd see some of the lineups. Remember the Wolfsburg game? I don't know if you remember that, but if you look at that Wolfsburg game, I think it was Wolfsburg, that we played in the Champions League, and we had that lineup, and we beat them. And you look at that team, you look at the players on there, and they were all fairly average players. There wasn't any like superstars, but the mentality and the attitude is one that helps in those circumstances. So it's always a bunch of different factors. It's never just specifically one thing or the other. That's why I always kind of hated the conversations of Ronaldo is the problem. You get rid of Ronaldo, everything gets fixed. Rashford is the problem. I don't like the labeling of they are the problem. I've always said you have to sometimes be careful with your words a little bit. They are a problem. There are many problems. There's always been many problems. There's still many problems. You can address a problem, but some people I think got too carried away with they focused all their frustrations and anger towards one specific thing, and they made themselves believe once we address this one specific issue, things are going to be all rosy again. And that's never the case because this is football. There's so many different factors. It's a team sport. There's 11 people on the pitch, plus a manager, plus your bench, plus the coaching staff, plus the owners. There's so many factors that go into it that it can't just be one player and it can't just be one guy. And we've sort of had a mess just all around. So but yeah, definitely mentality is one, and we still struggle with that a little bit. Not a little bit, we still struggle with it, Magnifico, because I think you've seen like in some of the matches, especially in the Grimsby match. Like, listen, Onana made two shitty mistakes and let up two shitty goals, but we went down 2-0 and our team was fucking rattled. The players were rattled. They were rattled. They got rattled to a point where they were allowed to be outplayed by what are they, a fourth league team, because they went down 2-0. So the mentality is still not strong. The mentality is still not weak. The mentality is still sort of weak, and it needs to be stronger. So there's a bunch of different aspects. There's a bunch of different aspects in this current squad that Ruben Amorim is tasked with fixing and improving. Lyle says I'm talking about next season. Bender definitely won't stay as third choice, so might as well keep eating. But yeah, I mean, I forgot to do that. I'm sure there's somebody else that we could get as well. Lyle, you know what I mean? In terms of third. I'm not too pressed about third. I mean, if he wants to stay, and it's something we could do, why not? Like I said before, it's very rare you end up at your third choice goalkeeper. So, you know, if he's the guy and he stays and he wants to do it, I have no problem with that, because as long as we have 1 and 2 sort of sorted out and slotted out, and there's some good competition in there, coupled with potential and ability, I think that's okay. The third kind of just, that's something you get to that I don't really get too pressed about, because it's almost like, not to be rude or anything to the guy, but third string is basically like a non-position almost, unless you have some crazy situation where the one goalkeeper gets injured and the other goalkeeper's playing like absolute shit, making a mistake or two every game, and you know, has lost confidence or something like that, and you have to go to the third string goalkeeper. So yeah, Grace says you need to take down those pictures and put proper managers and players up like Eric Ten Hag and Anthony instead. Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a proper manager here and players, and then I got our current manager. I like to support our current manager, whether, you know, whatever the thing is, but we got our current manager. So, and this will stay alive as long as he's here. Once he's gone, or if he's gone, right? Then these images are done. You know what I mean? Then they're done. But as long as he's here, we'll keep him up. We'll keep him. I put it there, and I'll you know what? I'll do a bit of a Ruben Amorim. I'll die on the hill with it. I put it there, and I'll keep it there till it's no more. HTX March says you guys are cooked. Just face it. Well, not necessarily. We're only 3 games into the season, my guy. We're only 3 games into the season, my guy. I think we're 3 points off of first, so, or something like that. So not necessarily. Boxes next season equals Lemens first, second Vitek, third Heaton. Yeah, I think that's fair. And I would make that move. I think Vitek. I think if we're doing this thing with this project and young guys, Lemens and Vitek, I think, should end up duking it out for first. For sure. And then Heaton, you just have him as third because he's the experienced guy, and he's not really going to play because you don't really get to third string, and it's just a emergency backup. HTX says you can't blame it on Onana. If they were consistently in United's final third, they walked past y'all midfield at will. They did, but I mean, I can't blame it on Onana because the first goal, man was literally standing on the post and the ball went into the net past him. I don't care if there was no players back there. If you're on the post and a player shoots the ball at the post and there's about an inch of a gap between your leg and the post and the ball goes in, that's your fault. And then also the second goal, I mean, he came out for it and he was soft. So it is his fault. But also, you know what? I'll agree with you at the same time. Like, our team was not performing well. And they left a lot of gaps. And they played like crap. And they got outplayed on the pitch by Grimsby Town. They did. So, it's not all his fault. But he was largely responsible for those goals. The team had to play a part in it. And they got to, accept some responsibility for that. But at some point, it's not like Grimsby put the ball in the goal where the goalkeeper can't reach it. Like, the first goal for me is unacceptable. The first goal for me that he let up is Barthez 2.0. I don't know if you know about Barthez, but Barthez is basically like Onana, but Onana is worse than Barthez. But yeah, Barthez used to concede weird, strange, erratic goals. Was a little bit just clumsy at times. He'd make some very good saves, but then he'd let up like the shittiest goal you've ever seen. And Onana is basically him. It's basically Barthez all over again. From what I see. So, and he's made many mistakes. Listen, it's not just about that match. He's made so many mistakes. And I don't think he can come back from it. I don't think he should come back from it. Box says Onana is a walking error. He is. And Lion says, plus, Onana couldn't save at least one of those many penalties after touching like 4 of them. Come on, Onana was the worst player in the Grimsby game. Well, that was another thing. I mean, if there was a place or a time for you to redeem yourself, would have been in that penalty shootout. And he just, after the 6th penalty, I was just like, he's not gonna fucking save one. Like, I was like, the only way we're gonna win this is if they miss. Like, we need them to miss the penalty. I was like, he's like, and when I mean miss, like, I mean miss the goal, like hit the post, shoot it over, or something like that. Because I was like, he's not gonna save it. You could tell, like, when you were watching the shootouts, you're like, he's just not ready for these penalty shootouts. To be fair, he's a little bit, or was a little bit like David De Gea. David, I love David, and he was a fantastic goalkeeper for us, great shot stopper, but his one thing always was penalties. And you just knew that if you're going to penalty shootout, that David was not going to save a penalty. It was not his strong suit. It just never happened for him. The same things with Onana, but plus Onana is just makes mistakes from match to match. So, Onana would still be at Grimsby now trying to save pens. Well, when I was watching the match at halftime, I said, at halftime, I was out with my friends at a dinner. I'm watching the game on my phone, mobile settings, as many of us have done at some point in our lives. And I just looked at them and I was like, dude, if I was to Jim, I'd make a call, rip up Onana's contract, tell him to get the fuck out, and I'd call up Grimsby Town, and I would have signed their goalkeeper and put him on our goal and have him come out for us at the second half. Because Grimsby goalkeeper, he made some really good saves. He made like 3 or 4 saves that were goal-scoring opportunities that I think if Onana faced those same shots, I think Onana lets in at least one, at least out of the four. He lets in at least one. So, and they were well played shots. Like, they were better shots and better opportunities than Grimsby actually created or scored from. The goals that they scored it was from us. It was all from us. So, I literally I was like, he's having a great game. I was like, I was like, the Grimsby Town goalkeeper, he's better than Onana. He is better than Onana. I was like, and we should sign him up. But obviously that's not gonna happen. I'm being sarcastic, but HTXM says you should be giving up 0 chances to a 4-tier side, especially if you know you have a crap keeper, which all United players know. Well, to that point, I think you are. I do agree. Like, I've seen many people talking about that match. They were talking about the tactics, the tactics, the formation, or whatever it is, like they usually talk about. And it kind of goes hand in hand with HTX. Like, you're playing the League 4 side. You don't a 4-side tier. You don't need fucking tactics. You don't even need a manager. In realistically, those players should be able to go on the pitch without tactics. They should not be getting outplayed. They should not be getting outplayed. Not in the manner that they did. Now, I don't know if you say you should give up 0 chances, because it's a game of football, and I think no matter who you play, you're probably going to give up at least 1 chance. 1. Especially maybe from a set piece or something, like a corner or something like that. But I get what you mean. Like, we shouldn't have been given up the amount of opportunities that we've given up, and played the way we played. So, the team is at fault for that as well. Because, I mean, it was disgusting. It was a disgrace. Like, it was a total disgrace. The fact that we were able to tie it up and go to pens, it was still a disgrace. I was very unhappy. Like, I didn't celebrate the first goal. I didn't celebrate the tying goal. Because I was just like, this is a fucking joke that we've ended up in this situation. So, but yeah, I mean, as a team, barring the goalkeeper, as a team as a whole, I mean, they were very woeful and they played like shit, and they deserve their criticism as well. But when you look at the other matches, I mean, even for Binder, the Arsenal goal, like, comes from the goalkeeper. And I've said this like so many times last season, and we're still seeing it now. We need to stop giving up shit, cheap goals. We keep giving up shit, cheap goals, and we need to stop, because it's hurting us. To me, the biggest things that I see this is a problem, and you can analyze it more, and you could say, the midfield, and there's holes and gaps, and that's fine. But on a basic level, the 2 biggest problems that I see our team currently is we give up shitty, cheap goals that they're just crap goals to concede. Like, you concede the goal, and you're like, well, that was fucking shit. And then the opponent doesn't actually do anything, where you're like, they're looking very, very dangerous. Like, they're playing a very, very elite. They're actually quite scaring me that they're going to score. And they score some fantastic goal, or they have a great play or something like that. And you know what? They scored, and you go, listen, it can't be letting that happen, but there's not much you could fucking do about it. It was a great play, and they executed it well. And then the other side of that is that we're creating 22 chances in one match, but we have like 3 shots on target, and then we have like 1 goal. Now, versus Burnley, we managed to get 3, but we gave up 2. And we let them back into the game as well. So, again, the consistency of level of intensity over the match, we need to increase that, because we're still doing it for short periods. It still feels... I think part of the problem that bothers me is it still feels sort of Ten Hag-ish. Because some of the things I was saying about Ten Hag in his last season, I still see some of these aspects in the team, which is a problem because we have a new manager, and those things shouldn't be there. He has to or needs to like eradicate those bad habits from the team. Because I used to say under Ten Hag for a year and then up until the third season where he got sacked, we never we never put in a 90-minute performance, and we're still not able to put in 90-minute performances. And we have to be able to do that if we're gonna actually accomplish something or do well in this season. We can't go into matches and put in a good 20 minutes and then fall apart for the next 25 to 35 minutes and then come back in and pretend like, yeah, we've got the game under control. And we're still sort of doing that. That aspect, many of you maybe remember that I used to complain the whole time. I'm like, we have never put in a 90-minute performance under Ten Hag for like a year and a half, and it's carried into Ruben Amorim. So something we need to fix that up, because we're not going to survive if we can't figure out how to, in slow increments, do it for 45 minutes. Maybe you lose a 20-minute period and come and finish the game strong, and then keep improving on that until you're basically doing it for 80 minutes, and maybe only 10 minutes of the match you kind of lose a little bit of your head, a little bit of control. Ray says, I've heard a lot of people say they don't like Ahmad at wingback, but some say they want wingers at wingback. Yeah, there is a lot of people that they don't want Ahmad at wingback. They prefer him as a 10. They think Ahmad at wingback is wasted. And they'd rather have him as 10. And that's fine. I understand that. But personally, me, not that I necessarily, I don't know how to put this. Not that I necessarily say I would prefer him there, but I think in terms of what we have and in terms of the amount of competition, I think Ahmad, in terms of his profile as a player, I do believe he can play wingback. I've been saying this for the longest time. I think he, as a winger, as an attacker to play wingback, I think he's probably. I don't think you can find many people like him, because defense is not his thing. Now, he's actually not that bad at defense. You have to remember, he's not a defender. So when you put it in that aspect, and you're like, for somebody that's not a defender, that's an attacking winger or a 10, his work rate and his ability to track down the player and even get a foot in on the ball, because he's done it multiple times where he has lost the ball or the team loses the ball, and he tracks down the player and he'll get his foot in on the ball. He'll get a touch on it. He'll recover it back. I think the fact that he can do that as somebody that's supposed to be an attacker, I think that's why he can play wingback. I don't have a problem with him playing wingback. I think it adds probably a little bit more for us attacking wise. But I understand the people that they would want to see him as the 10. I just think that currently, at the moment in time, with the amount of options we have at 10, and kind of the lack of a little bit of options in the wingback role, and in terms of we need a little bit more attacking output from the wingbacks themselves, because personally, I think Maz should be playing center back. I like Maz at centre back. I like Maz at centre back better than I like him at right wing back. So I'd have Delo out there and Ahmad, but Delo played left wing back the other game. So we can switch him around like that as well. So, but yeah, there are a lot of people that they don't like Ahmad at wing back. I like him there. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Like, I think Grace doesn't necessarily want him at wing back either. But what about the rest of you? Do you not like to see Ahmad wing back? Would you rather see him at a 10? Is it something that doesn't really bother you? Um, you have a preference or something like that? Because for me, I always said I like Ahmad at wing back. I think he can play there. I think his attitude, his mentality, coupled with his work rate, I think makes him a profile that fits there. But it also depends what you're looking for. I personally think for us, we need to be a little bit more attacking. And the way to be a little bit more attacking, if you have a winger playing wing back or you have an attacking player playing the wing back position instead of a traditional right back or left back, um, I feel like it should help, especially if you have one more traditional wing back on one side and you have a winger on the other side. It balances itself out a little bit. So, um, Onana creates chances for the opponents. Yeah, so does the rest of our team. That's the problem that I have with our current team at the moment. I always feel like there's been so many matches, and even the three we've played so far, where it's not like we were getting completely outplayed or we were that bad. Sometimes we were actually good in a lot of moments in the match, but it's just like we do shit on the pitch at some moment in the match where we literally we create the opportunity and we create the chance for the opponent. And that's one of the things that I think frustrates me the most because we play all right. We play all right in a lot of moments in the match. We struggle in the final third to convert the chances, which is frustrating. But then the other frustrating thing to me is that it's like the opponent isn't even like so scintillating. It's like we just keep beating ourselves. We keep beating ourselves by not scoring goals, but then we keep beating ourselves by literally giving the opponent an opportunity that like you can't not score from it. Like we hand them the goals. And we need to stop doing that because I think if we stop doing that, I think a lot of our problems and issues will go away. I think we'll be getting more points and we'll be winning more matches, and the the narrative around our club will change a little bit, and it has to change because we need more positivity and we need more there for the fans and for even the players, I guess, just to buy in a little bit more, to feel a little bit more confident about the direction that we're going in and that there is something there and there is something that we can let's grab onto that. Let's work with this and let's go with this. And we'll solve the other problems as we go along. We need a little bit more of that. We're struggling a little bit with that. It's very like it's very non-solid at the moment. It's very non-solid at the moment. It's a bit shaky. And we need to solidify it a little bit more. So Rajat's here, says hi, yo devil. Rajat says put up Mag and Lindelof kit lad. I don't have those. I don't have those. No more kits. No more kits. No more. No more. If I get a kit, no more names on the back either. That's it. But nah, no more kits. No more kits. I think I'm gonna retire the kits for now. Yeah, no more kits. No more. I don't think I'll get this season's kits. Not for the time being. I think the club needs to they need to show something before I go back to maybe getting a kit. But if I do go back to getting a kit, no more kits with people's names on it until we win things, because not for nothing, I had a Garnacho kit. Fucking useless now, isn't it? I have a Mano kit, and that almost became useless. So, quick update: Benjamin Sesko is playing international match right now for Slovenia, and he just got an assist. So, I don't know what the score is, but I know Slovenia has scored. So Benjamin Sesko with an assist for Slovenia. And he is playing against Gyökeres right now. So I think we're going to see that matchup for quite a long time to come. Rajat says play Dorgu and Delo Maz at right wing back. Yeah, I would you would play Dorgu at right wing back as well. Because I don't think we should play Dorgu right wing back. I think Dorgu should play left wing back. And I think Delo, I'd still play him at right wing back, and I'd get Ahmad there. I would have Maz at center back. How that fits in right now, because we have Shaw back there, Delit, and Euro. I'm not gonna lie. I might stick Maz in there instead of Shaw. But maybe Maz does go to wing back. I mean, Maz just came back from injury, so he's got a little bit to catch up. But let's see what happens. He was easily probably our best signing last year. He was the cheapest, and he was very, very impactful, and he was very consistent throughout the season. So I hope he carries that on into year 2. And let's see, what we get with that. Grace says Dorgu / Ahmad on the left as the more attacking side, Maz and Delo on the right for more defensive side. Yeah, I feel like if you do a balance like that, I think that's good, because I think that works well, because it's kind of like you're going in between a 3, a 4, and a 5 in the back. And then at times, obviously, if you have one side's a little bit more attacking, then it sort of goes into a 4 at times. And then if you really want to push forward, you could even send that side up as well. And then you really have the 3 with the 5 in the midfield. But it's what do they call that in FM in Football Manager, where they got the formations asymmetrical, where or something like that, asymmetrical, where it's like you have you'll have like a left wing back that goes up very far, the right wing back will drop deep, and then you'll have like you have like a left winger or something that sits a little bit deeper, but you have the right wing like further up, so it's like it crosses over, it's asymmetrical. Yeah, I think that provides like a good balance. So Lyle says Sesko with an assist now for Slovenia to equalize against Sweden on 90 minutes 2-2. Oh wow, on the 90th minute 2-2, and Sesko with the assist. So that's good. Gives him a little bit of confidence, but he needs a little bit more time, Sesko, with us. And I think the team. This was one of my worries. I mean, we got him in late, and he's switching leagues. He's still sort of a young guy, and then you have a front 3 that's basically brand new. Regardless that Mbuemo and Cunha played in the Prem, they haven't played together, and they also haven't been at Manchester United, and now you have Sesko. And also, I think just for the team in general, we haven't... Listen, I said this on Rasmus, and I think I was right. And I'm not one to... You know me, I'm not one to come here and to gloat and say, haha, I was right, you're wrong, or whatever. But there was a period where I was very speculative. And I remember we did many match recaps, and we talked about, Rasmus goes on the pitch. They don't look for him. They don't necessarily try to play to him. They don't give him opportunities. There was so many matches where it was like, there was many different times where he was actually in a good position. They don't give him the ball. They give the ball to somebody else. And I used to hypothesize and say, they don't trust him. They don't trust him, whether it's a conscious or subconscious thing. They don't trust him. And I think that has become quite clearly evident with the fact that he's not here anymore. And as soon as we got Sesko, the club got rid of him immediately, and Amorim got rid of him immediately. And I think that has come to make it quite clear that they didn't actually have faith in him, which is a problem, because you can't have a player starting, especially as your striker, and the rest of your team doesn't have faith and doesn't have confidence in him. Because even if you try to be professional about it and you say, I gotta do my job, I gotta give him the ball, subconsciously you'd rather kick the ball to somebody else. And you can't necessarily have that dynamic going on, because there are times where he is in the position where he has to get the ball because it is the most proper play on the pitch, and it doesn't go to him because they don't trust him to score. They don't trust him to hold on to the ball. They don't trust him to get the job done. So I think a lot of times last season where we said, you know, it feels like we're playing without a striker, and I think the players were basically playing on the pitch without a striker, and it's sort of a problem now because they're a little bit used to playing like that, and now we got a new guy, and he also has to, you know, sort of earn his trust and respect. He's a young guy, but they're not so used to entrusting in the striker. They're not wired to be looking for this guy as much. So you got to kind of get out of that little bit of a routine and be like, all right, we're starting fresh. This is a new guy. We got to give him the benefit of the doubt. We got to give him as many opportunities as possible to prove himself. See, Brajat says Ahmad is not really a wingback. And again, that's fine for whoever has that opinion. I think he can play there. I understand that he's not really a wingback, but I think he can play there. I kind of look at it as, I mean, Trent played wingback, and Trent was shit at defending. But Trent was good going forward, and he played wingback. Now, Ahmad's kind of the inverse, because he was not really a defender, right? But I think he has the... Sorry, I got a message. I think he has the ability to play there. It's just... it's just that... It's just that in the manner of which the team plays. Yeah, okay. No, it was a non-message. Sorry about that. I got a text message and trying to read it. Yeah, I think he can play there. I think he can play. I think he has the certain qualities. And the fact that he tracks back and he does quite well to do so. And he has sort of a little bit of tenacity about him. Again, I would say just watch a little bit close when he's there. He's not an elite defender, right? This is not what I'm saying. But in terms of somebody that, when you play him there, the purpose of him playing there is so that we can be a little bit more attacking, and we could be a little bit better in the attacking aspect. When he does the defensive duties, for somebody that is an attacker playing a wingback role, I think he does it quite well. I remember in many matches, he does have the opportunity where he does track back. He does put in, he actually puts in a decent tackle getting on the ball. So I think, like, some people might say he's not really a wingback, but I don't think, it's not one like, how do I put this? I don't think it's the same as like when we took Ashley Young and made him a winger into a left back or a right back, whatever it was. Like, I don't think it's the same, because I think the position is a little bit different. Football is a little bit different. And we were playing differently. Like, I never liked Ashley Young being the left back or the right back, whatever he was. I hated it. I think it was stupid. I think it was nonsense. But in the way that we're trying to play now, I think it's a thing that you can do. Hawk says Sancho kit. Now, I never had a Sancho kit. I didn't buy one. Because I didn't believe. I didn't believe in the hype. I was very worried about the Sancho deal, because he was English, and because he played in the Bundesliga, and just the way everybody was kind of just like, he's a baller and he's gonna ball, and I was like, we've done this before already, and I've seen how it doesn't pan out. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm not gonna get the kit. I was like, I'm just gonna wait and see. I was like, if he's actually good, maybe I'll get it. But I was like, I'm not gonna do it. It was a lot of money. we overpaid. We took 2 years to get it. The whole thing kind of just worried me. It made me feel like it was too big of an expectation. I was like, and it wasn't. It was too big not to fail. So I never did that, thankfully, because I would have a terrible, terrible record going on at the time. So yeah, I mean, my record with kids in recent times, I was like, and now somebody's gonna blame me for all the misfortunes, but in recent times, well, we started off with an Alexis Sanchez one, which we all know how that went. So that didn't go well. Then I got a Mason Greenwood one. We know how that ended up. So that's two kits can never wear ever, ever. And we'll never wear them. They're up on the wall with the name to the back of the wall. And we got a Mainu one. We got a Garnacho one. Garnacho one is useless now. Mainu is the only one that's left standing. I have a Martinez kit. And he's been injured two seasons in a row. I got a Bruno kit. And do I have any other kits? I think that's it with names. So the record, since United have gone to shit, my record with kits has gone to shit as well, because it's been very bad. So no more kits. No more kits. No more kits. No more kits. No more names on the back of the kits. No more. No more. Not until we win or something like that. No more. See, yeah, there it is. Boxes, so it's all Eric's fault. Any Onana or Van de Beek kits? Nah, none of that. None of that. Listen, it was players that I believed, that I thought that they were going to be good, or that they are good. Like Sanchez at Arsenal was an excellent player, and I thought that was like, he's going to come and he's going to play like Alexis Sanchez. Yeah, we paid him a shit ton of money, but I was like, and he came and he was one of our worst signings ever. Martinez, I loved Martinez. And I got Martinez because I loved the little butcher thing. I love that he's small. I love that he's like tenacious, and he has like this sort of attitude and this mentality. And he's like a little mini warrior, you know. And I respect that. And I'm gonna be fair. I've never owned a defender's kit, never, because growing up I was all about the attackers. I was all about the wingers, the strikers, and the midfielders. So I don't think I'll ever own a goalkeeping kit. It's just not, I don't like the position. You know, I respect the job they do, but I don't like the position. It's not one that, it doesn't hit me, and it doesn't give me any feelings. You know what I mean? I never liked the goalkeeping position. I would never want to be a goalkeeper. Personally, I think it's a shit position to play as a footballer. Sorry to all the people that are goalkeepers out there and that love that position. Not trying to shit on you, but for me personally, it was just always a position. I always just thought it was probably the shittiest position. So I always kind of hated goalkeeper. You know, even if we had to play like a pickup game or something amongst friends, like I would never want to be in goal. I'm like, you know, I hate goalkeeping. I think it's a shit. It's such an unfulfilling position to me. So I'll never own a goalkeeping kit. And then with defenders, I just never had one. So Martinez was my first actual defender kit. And yeah, it's gone that way. So no more kits. Until we win. Should I do like that guy? No kits until we win 5 in a row. I'll never buy another kit again. No more kits till we win 5 matches in a row. Elias says Jokeres and Sesko not on the score sheets tonight, but both has an assist. Interesting. Yeah, it seems like they're just they're trying to they're battling each other. The dynamic is very interesting because of the whole fact that you know, we wanted Gyökeres and they went for Sesko, and it's ended up the opposite. And now Gyökeres is at Arsenal and Sesko's with us. Um, they're gonna have to play against each other at least twice a season going forward, and now they're also playing against each other internationally. So, you know, it is quite ironic. And then on top of that, like neither of them scored, but both of them have gotten assists. So it's like what one does, the other must do. It's creating sort of an interesting, I don't know if you want to call it a rivalry yet or something like that, but maybe potential grounds for a good rivalry. Even though, you know, Gyökeres is older, so you know, how long is that going to last? And Sesko's younger, but Box says go ultra attack. Buemo right wing back. I'm out left wing back. Well, I mean, listen, in a match, Box, you know, you're probably saying that, but in a match that maybe you need to win, or maybe you're down, I mean, you could probably do that as well. Because again, Buemo, while he's not a wing back, like probably would be able to do that job for, you know, 20 minutes if you needed him to. If you really needed him to. He could track back. I think he has a good build in terms of body. He has some strength. But just on Mbeumo, I mean, you know, him and Cunha, and specifically, I would say so far right now at the current moment, Mbeumo looks like a very, very good signing so far. He looks very, very good. I think right now the way it's looking, it's still very early, so obviously it could change. But I'm just saying, in terms of what I've seen so far, I think Mbeumo was probably at the top in terms of best signing for this signing right now, and then I think Cunha will be under him, and second, and then you have you know, Sesko, I guess, because he just got here, so you know, and then there's Lemaines, but he hasn't played yet, so he's got to go to fourth automatically, of course. But I think the way Mbeumo has been playing, like the impact that he has on the game, coupled with his ability, that he's shown so far, he looks. He's giving me this feeling right now of like we actually, like, he was the correct signing, like it was actually a good signing, and it started off decently well, decently good right now. So I'm encouraged by that. Obviously, you know, he's just started out. Anything can happen, and there's a lot of football to be played. So, you know, we got to see how it goes. But from what I've seen from him so far, he's giving me the most positive feelings in terms of what we've gotten. I like Cunha as well, but I think Mbeumo has just been a little bit. He just seems like he fits a little bit better. He seems like he just has this little bit extra in his game that's like, I think we might have actually, for, I don't want to say for once in a long time, but we might have actually gotten somebody where we paid decent amount of money, where this is actually going to be, it's actually going to go really well over the next few years. So I hope so. Rajat says get Nacho Kid as well. I have a Nacho Kid. That's the Nacho Kid's done. It's done. It's over. It's dusted. It's retired. It's never be worn ever again. So up on the wall. You know what? I might put it over here. When I take down this green screen, I put it up. I might put. You know what? I might get two kits, and I'll put them up here. And I'll put the name to the back. And we'll do a thing where if somebody can guess who's on the back, you get one shot. You get one guess. Because otherwise you're just gonna spam every name. I'll give an opportunity. If you could guess who's on the back of that specific kit, we'll gift you a subscription. We'll gift you something to the channel. For a month or something like that. So we'll see when we get there. But yeah, Box says it's all my fault. Yep, I told you I was gonna say that, and it was gonna be all my fault. So no more kits. No more kits. Lila says, this is why all my kids had my surname, haha, and my favorite number in the club, like 11 or 7. Well, my favorite number is 7. Um, and I got the older kits. Like, I got Rooney's. I got like 2 Rooney kits. I got a Beckham kit. I got 2 CR7 kits. What else do I have? I think I got a Scholes one somewhere. And then I got a couple with no names on them that are like oldies. I had 3 Rooney kits. Rooney was one of my favorite players of all time. So I loved Wayne Rooney. I miss him dearly. But yeah, can't think of who else I have. But I know I have another one, and I'm forgetting who it is. But I think I had a Giggs one, but it wasn't mine. But it might have been my mother's or my father's. We had a Giggs one for sure. The white one that was sharp. I think it was Giggs. It was either Giggs or Scholes. I can't remember. I was so much of a Beckham fan that I have Beckham United, I have Beckham England, I have Beckham Real Madrid, and I have Beckham LA Galaxy. That is my favorite player of all time. So I have Beckham. I have pretty much all Beckham from all the teams. I didn't get the PSG one because fuck that. But yeah, it's all Beckham. I did have idiots telling me that Wilson was never 11 or whatever. Just like, shut up. Dude. Yeah. Yeah. I know. Those smart asses. The smart asses lie. Wilson was never, it was never number 11. Wilson wasn't 11. Like, dude, it's me. And it's the number I want. not the player that played for United. Axe is here. What's up, Axe? Yeah, we had James Wilson, so but they should know. Come on. I mean, if his name is Lyle Wilson, put 2 and 2 together, bro. You think a Manchester United fan is gonna buy a kit and put James Wilson on the back with number 11? What kind of United fan would he be? There was a couple more. Let me jump to a couple of these updates. So obviously Kobe didn't go out on loan, which I think is good. I don't think he should be going out on loan. And I don't want him to leave the club. And I want them to sort his shit out. And we should be figuring out how to develop him. Now, apparently, according to Fabrizio, whether you want to buy this or not, this might just be PR. But apparently, Sir Jim Ratcliffe was involved in the decision not to let Kobe Mainoo go out on loan. And that was from Fabrizio. So, no, you make what you want of that. Should he be getting involved in that? You give him credit for that? Do you think it's just bullshit to buy him some brownie points with the fans because many of the fans like Kobe Mainoo? Probably overwhelmingly majority of the fans like Kobe. Should he necessarily be getting involved in that decision? I don't know. I mean, I don't really think so, considering he is the owner, but I mean the people he's employed, they're the ones that are supposed to make the decisions for this. So if it's like propaganda to buy himself some points with the fans, I mean, it is what it is. I would say at the very least, I mean, if it's true, I'll give it a little bit of support, because I don't think that he should be leaving and he shouldn't be going out on loan. So if he made that decision, I'm for it a little bit, but I don't think he should necessarily be getting involved so much in decisions like that. I mean, he has a CEO, he has a director of football, he has a technical director. It's their job to make this, and he hired them, and he should have the trust in them to make the decision. So now I don't know if that means that. To be fair, it's very vague. It just says he was involved in the decision. So what does that mean? Like, he was part of the team talking about it. He gave his 2 cents. Did he override the others and be like, no, you're not fucking, did he walk in the room and was like, listen, Kobe Mainoo's not going on alone, end discussion, and walked out and told him to fuck off? That's not specified. It just says he was involved in the decision. So Axe says we completely lost. Axe says we completely lost our youngsters group. That rat can be involved in the pipes. Too many egos and divas. Yeah, not fitting. Mano into the team is on the coach. Yeah, but listen, he's gotta earn his place as well, though. He didn't play very well. And my whole thing is it's not about fitting Mano into the team, because I don't think there's any player on the team that deserves to be automatically in the team. You have to perform, you have to earn it. My whole thing is surrounding the Mano thing is that you can't tell me that there's no plan, there's no leeway, or there's no there's no you can't tell me that there's not going to be a period or a point in time where you can't give him an opportunity to earn it. That's what I don't agree with. If he doesn't start, he doesn't start. If he's not performing to the level that deserves a start, I'll live with it. But if you tell me we're playing matches and Kobe Mainoo can't get even 5 minutes and he's just sitting on the bench, well, there's a very big problem, because it's one thing if you're deemed you're not a starter, you're going to be a sub player, or you're going to be a squad player. It's one thing. But it's another thing if you're deemed a squad player and then you're playing in a match and you can't get 5-10 minutes and you're the level of Kobe Mainoo. For me, it's two different things. Now, it's very early in the season, and I think, to be fair to Ruben, I think he's not necessarily he's stubborn, but I think in the case of the likes of Casemiro was out. He didn't play last season for like 2-3 months, and he was pretty much done. But Cass kept it professional, and when we needed Cass and we used him, he came in, he put in good performances, and he brought his way back in. And I think, at the very least, Kobe should have some sort of a similar opportunity. I think you just got to sort of keep your head down and keep working and just wait, because you never know what can happen. I mean, so far, we're 3 matches into the season. Cunha's gotten injured, Mount's gotten a bit injured, and Delo's a bit injured. I mean, you don't know. Like, Bruno doesn't get injured, so we don't expect him to get injured, but what if he does? What if Casemiro gets injured? What if, Ugarte is injured? Your spot gets elevated a little bit. It's a little bit like Sancho as well at that point in time, that period in time, where, he wasn't getting an opportunity. He was pissed. And then as soon as he did that whole thing with Ten Hag, and basically, they fought each other, and then he was kicked out of the team. Shortly after, we needed somebody there, because somebody got injured or whatever it was, and there was basically an open spot, and it was just like if Sancho kept his mouth closed for just that moment in time, he would have had to get the opportunity that he was basically felt like he deserved and didn't get. So I think the same for Kobe at this moment in time. Like, it's not a great position, but I think I don't necessarily want quitters either. You need to fight for your place and believe in yourself and wait for the opportunity. Football is like that. Sometimes you got to wait for your opportunity. I mean, the same shit happened for Ahmad in a different way, but in a similar way. I mean, he didn't really get an opportunity. He had a great loan. He came back. He got a little bit of opportunity. Ten Hag threw him to the side and wasn't playing him over Anthony. And it was very frustrating because everybody was like, he should be playing over Anthony. Wasn't doing it. But he stuck it out. And now, I mean, he's here and he plays and he features a prominent role. And Anthony ain't at the fucking football club. So, you know, for Kobe, I think he's just got to tough it out a little bit more. I find it hard to believe that Ruben would just 100% discard him. I just think that he's got to stay par for the course right now, is all. So, 0 points against City and Chelsea and a humiliation at Anfield, and he's out for sure. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, he might, but I don't know because again, I'm gonna keep saying this. I don't know what Ineos is gonna do. I don't know what Ineos is gonna do. I think Ineos, they're a little bit of a strange bunch in terms of that they seem to make a decision on certain things and they will stick with it. They give me a vibe that, again, this could just be my imagination, or it could just be my brain just saying this, but they give me a bit of a vibe where I can potentially see a situation where things are not going very well, and maybe he's lost a good section of the people that still support him, and everybody's basically like, he's going to get sacked or he's got to get sacked. And I could see these guys doubling down and be like, we're not sacking him, we're sticking with him, and they're going to stick with him. Or they could just kind of say like, yeah, we back him, and then one day they're just like, nope, done, and get him out and be ruthless. I feel like with them it could go either way. They're not so easy to read when it comes to these circumstances because they make some decisions that you sort of question. So I don't know how that'll go. But I don't expect to get 0 points against City, Chelsea, and we shouldn't be getting humiliated at Anfield either. So I don't expect that. I think we can beat City, and I think we could probably get something out of Chelsea as well. I think Chelsea will be a tougher match than City. I think City, I think that match is up for grabs. I think we have to be on our game. And I think in these matches, we will be on our game and we'll play better because we seem to turn up a little bit more still, just like we were doing under Ten Hag. When we played the big matches, when we played the big teams, we seem to be up for it a little bit more than when we play the likes of the Fulhams or the Burnleys or something like that. So I expect the levels to be at all three of these matches. And I don't think... I think we will. I think we can beat City. I will say that. I think we can beat City. I think we very well probably maybe do so. Chelsea, I think, is a harder match. I could see a draw, but I could see them beating us maybe by a goal or something like that. Maybe like a 2-1 sort of thing. And then the Liverpool one, I mean, they'll be the favorites. As much as I hate to say that, they'll be the favorites, but when it's a derby, anything can happen on its day, and you know, kind of all form and all that shit goes out the window. So, you know, we could play to a draw. We could beat them. I mean, they're favorites. And, you know, and they're home at Anfield, so they're definitely favorites. But yeah, we gotta see. The players will prove how much they want him. Well, yeah, I agree with that. They very well do so because they gotta fucking perform. And I said that in the beginning of the show. I don't really like that aspect because it's. I said it's a weird. It's sort of a weird thing. He's been given a lot of backing and a lot of power, and especially in terms of how much we've complained about player power over the years and how the managers prior to him at one point or another have all sort of been undermined by the players at a certain point. You know, especially when Woodward was there and stuff like that. Like the players literally went behind Mourinho's back and went to Woodward, and Woodward sided with the players over the manager. Um, when it comes to Ruben, he's been the one that has been given actual backing in terms of like there has been no manager prior to him that I think if you walked in and you said Marcus Rashford is a problem, I can't have him on my team, I think the response usually from United would be like, well, we can't get rid of him and we don't want to get rid of him, so figure out how to make it work. Whereas when Ruben came in, I think he probably immediately probably called him out for something and they were like, okay, and they got rid of him. And he's done the same with Anthony, and he's done the same with Garnacho. And I think with that sort of backing, I don't think that's happened under other managers. I think other managers, they were forced to keep and use some of these players that they probably didn't want, but the club, for whatever reason, one way or another, whether they said that they can't afford it or it would be bad financials or, you know, just because they're a popular player and it's good for the commercialism or something like that, they were forced to stick with these players. But then on the flip side, because of where things are, his backing is a bit undermined in the fact that if you don't, if there is a large section of players, like Axe was saying, that don't want him or don't really want him, it's not really that hard to really get rid of him, is it? Because last season wasn't so good. There's pressure on him. And this season has to go well for him to... Essentially, everybody says this season has to go well for him to stick around. Now, I don't know what, goes on behind the scenes and what things are said, and maybe they're privy to a little bit more stuff, because they seem to be coming out publicly saying that, like, we're 100% behind Ruben, and Ruben has all our support, and this and that. And in one aspect, they seem like to take a stance that, like, even if it goes sort of kindly to shit, they might just double down and stick with him, which would then backfire on any player that would essentially down tools on the manager and be like, you know what, I don't believe in this guy, fuck trying, this is over, I'm done with this, I don't buy into it. But then it also creates a situation of that, I mean, like Axe is saying, if you're in a position of like 12th, you expect him to get sacked, you expect him to lose his job, and if you don't want him there, I mean, all you got to do is not perform for the next, like, 7 to 10 matches. Play like shit, don't get the points, put the club in a shit position, and he'll get sacked and you get a new manager. And, you'll start on that path. So, I don't know. It's a bit weird. That's a bit weird. Because in one aspect, like, for example, like, I was thinking about Rasmus earlier today as well. Like, I think it's a bit of a good show from the club standpoint. That's like, hey, you can't really afford to down tools, or you can't really afford to not perform. Because in the past, I think they were able to get away with it a lot because they kind of knew from the inside of the club, the players especially, or the agents, they knew that, like, they were like, Manchester United will not get rid of you because they're worried too much about, reporting a loss or the finances or the commercialism. So, you could play like shit for a season. Don't worry about it. They're going to keep you, whoever X player it is. Don't worry. You have a shit season. You'll be here next season. It's fine. They're not going to get rid of you because you're too expensive to move on. And they'll just sack the manager because it's cheaper. But in terms of somebody like, using it as an example, like Rasmus, whether you want him to stay or not, I think just by the fact of that, it didn't go well. It didn't perform, and he's been moved on. And I think it sets a little bit of a better culture, because you know what, you're not fucking safe. And then when you couple that in with somebody like a Marcus Rashford, who came from the academy, and even with the Garnacho, who also came from the academy and was young and still has a future ahead of him, and they're out, I think it also then balances back to the other side that actually it's a bit of a good thing because they're showing that, you know what, you guys are no longer untouchable, and you do have to perform, and you can't just so easily down tools on the manager and be like, yeah, it was all his fault and we had nothing to do with it. So there's a little bit of a back and forth going there, which is why I think what we need for the club as a whole in the betterment is that we need to get more wins under our belts, and we need to get some better performances in so that the narrative moves away from Ruben potentially getting sacked and solidifies his position a little bit more, so that way we don't have people trying to essentially stab the manager in the back, and we're all kind of together as a collective unit, and we can move forward as a football club. How can we play 4-2-3-1, especially with Buenos and Cunha? Do you know why? Do you know why we can't play 4-2-3-1? Because our manager doesn't play a 4-2-3-1. He plays a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-2-1. That's why. He doesn't play a 4-2-3-1. He doesn't play a 4-4-2. So how we can't? We can't because he doesn't play it. It's not his thing. You can play it, but I don't think it's how can't we play it. I think you can play it. I think it's we won't play it because it's not his thing and he's not going to do it. So you could possibly do it. Like if you go and get a manager and he plays a 4-2-3-1 and you bring him to United, I think you could play a 4-2-3-1 with the squad we have. I think you can. But the manager has to be the guy that plays a 4-2-3-1. It doesn't make sense to get a guy that doesn't play 4-2-3-1 to make him play a 4-2-3-1. I said this before him. And the same thing was with Ten Hag. And it was one of my things, and it was one of the things that disappointed many people. When Ten Hag said it, I think he lost some support out of it. And I don't think he realized when he said that, I don't think he realized what he did to himself, because there was always there was never a direct quote about it as to why we're not seeing him do the things that he was doing at Ajax. And basically, if you don't close the story, you leave the narrative open for somebody else to close the story. And that's what was going on. There was a lot of speculation. Oh, he can't do it because United aren't getting the players and he doesn't have the players, so he has to play like this and blah, 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 blah. But when Ten Hag made that comment and he said that I'm not going to play what I was playing at Ajax here because this is United and I have to play different. I remember me, including myself, I was like, well, what was the fucking point of hiring you then? Because we saw how he played at Ajax and how his team played, and it reminded us of old United. And we were like, we want that, bring that, copy, and paste that shit, adjust it a little bit for the Prem, but same principles, basic core playing. We want that at United. And then 2 years in, he tells us that that's never going to happen. It's not possible. I'm not going to do it. And we basically all sat there and we were like, well, then what the fuck was the point that we bring you? Because that's what you were good at. And that's what you were successful at. And he came to Manchester United and he decided you were going to change what you do and what was making you successful and the best because it's United. And now we have a manager that basically, he's young and he's inexperienced, but what he was doing is his way, and we bring him here and he's doing his way. Now, I don't have a problem. You do your way. If you fail, you fail. If you sink, you sink. I get the answer. It's, at least I know that he did it his way and it didn't work, or he did it his way and it worked, but he did it his way. I think that, for me, it matters a lot. I want the manager that comes here, I don't want them to come here and conform to what we have. They need to fit what we have. Now, they've tried to go in the different direction because it's Ineos, they're new, and they hired their guy, and they want to go in the direction they want to go, and they want to build for the future. So they bring him, and he didn't really fit what we had, but they're like, don't worry, we're gonna build for it to go forward. So he doesn't do those things. He's not gonna play a 4-2-3-1. It's not gonna happen. Now, if they sack him, whatever you want to play, whatever it is, a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, a 4-4-2, you go ahead and play it. I don't really give a shit. All that matters to me is whoever you bring in, they better play a 4-2-3-1, like in general, in their coaching career. Or they better play a 4-3-3. Like, it better be their thing. Because what I don't want to see is a manager that plays a 4-3-3 and then comes to United and is playing a 4-5-1. It's not his thing. Why are you doing that? It's not gonna work. So with the whole thing with Ruben, and I'm to be honest, I'm quite tired of it, because people just don't seem to they just don't want to accept the fact he's not going to play whatever formation you want him to play. He's going to play his formation. That's it. He's going to play his formation and his tactics. That's what he knows how to do. That's his style. I agree with it to a certain extent. Doesn't mean I say that it's going to work. I just agree with the sentiment that that's how he plays his football, and he's going with what he knows. It's who he is as a manager. And I think the people that are so focused on this, he's got to play a 4-4-2, or he's got to play a 4-2-3-1. I think you got to just let it go, dude. You got to just let it go to the point of just say, do you? I think you should play, this formation, but at the same time, you got to understand he's not going to do it. So you just got to let it go and be like, go ahead, stick with it and fail. That's fine. You could have that opinion. But I don't understand why people just keep going on about the tactics and the formation. You should very well know that he's not going to change it. It's not going to happen. Just let that aspect go. Because he's not gonna play a different formation. He's not gonna change the tactics. It's just not happening. You know, it's not gonna happen. Who would be a starter right mid? The reason why these young players have inflated egos, and why they demand silly wages, and why these people are overhyped into oblivion. Well, it's part of. I think it's a couple things. It's social media. It's Manchester United in an aspect. I think you couple it with social media, and then I think it's Manchester United, sort of the ethos and the atmosphere and sort of the mentality inside of the club, and the way we operated. I think a lot of those things have sort of damaged the culture, or have made the culture a bit rotten. Again, when you come to United, especially in the social media age era, and depending on your type of personality and your upbringing, and just what kind of person you are in general, I think it's very easy in today's time to get very carried away, and to sort of get an inflated ego and stuff like that. I think it's very hard to manage in today's time. And especially when you're at Manchester United, because if you're a kid, if you're a young kid and you actually use social media, which most of them do, but like Garnacho is one, you can tell. Look at Garnacho, right? And maybe you look at Ahmad, or you look at Kobe Mainu, right? If you took them three together, you would say Garnacho is one that uses social media the most. He uses it the most. He's probably the most annoying about it as well, in the way he uses it, because he uses it to do a lot of shade posts and sort of brand stuff, and sort of like he's like the mini king. He gives that presence on social media with the posts he puts out. If you're that young guy and you play for United, and you go online and you're constantly online, you're gonna see a ton of shit. I mean, I sometimes think, and I don't know how they do it, and I don't know how I would do it. I would probably have to have like 2 phones and one that doesn't have these fucking apps on it or something, because imagine you have imagine you are a 18-year-old Manchester United player and you have a Twitter account, right? And you actually use the Twitter account and the Twitter account is on your phone. How do you like, dude, you must have like 50,000 plus mentions, people tagging you and shit, your phone constantly blowing up with notifications. Like, there is no way that you would not see that shit. There's no way that you would ignore it unless you don't use it. But if you do use that shit, you're gonna go on there, you're gonna see it, and you're gonna be tempted to look. Because some people, they also have an addiction to that shit. They want to see what people are saying about them. They want people to like them. The more people that like them, the better they feel about themselves. So today's world is very different than how it was back in the day. I think it's played a hand, but also the running of our club has become quite toxic and quite shitty. So I think it's kind of all coupled together. It's led to stuff like that. But for example, somebody like Ahmad, he does go on social media every once in a while, and he does he does put up a post or a comment. And sometimes he puts up like, a meme or some shit, but that's about it. And he pops up like every once in a while. And I think he's talked, I don't know if it was him or Malasia, but somebody, I think it was Ahmad, was talking about like, he doesn't really use that shit a lot. And I believe what he says, but he has certain control. Like, he won't look at things. He won't go on the internet. Most of the time it's friends or family are messaging him about shit. And he's like, no, I haven't seen it. Or like, I haven't heard that, because I'm staying off these things. So it's a bit of a problem, because I think at one point it was much easier for the club to manage these sorts of things because there was no sort of social media like there is today, and it's more of the public eye thing and stuff like that. Now it's like, I mean, there are probably certain measures, that you can take, but can you stop a player from looking at social media? Can you stop a player from technically using it? Like, you can't. You can, but you can't, because like, let's say the club is like, you know what? We run all your social media accounts. You don't have access to the username and password. That's fine. All right. They're running their social media account, official social media accounts. What stops the player from using their girlfriend's phone, their wife's phone, their brother's phone, their mom's phone? What stops them from creating like a burner account with just some random profile and a random name and them using it? You can't actually stop them. Like, if they want to do it, they're gonna do it. What stops them from buying 3 burner phones and using it? How is the club supposed to stop them from doing that? At the end of the day, at that point, it becomes a personal responsibility. And the players have to get some sort of understanding, like, hey, this is a fucking distraction. This isn't going to help me in my career. This is actually probably a negative. This is something that I actually shouldn't probably be entertaining, because this has nothing to do with me playing on that pitch. It has nothing to do with me becoming the best footballer possible. This is a distraction. The social media essentially is similar to, and to some people, it's like a drug, dude. Like, it's like the people that can't stay out of the pub, or can't not go to the club, or can't not drink, or can't not smoke. You know what I mean? While they're professional players. There's been many examples of them. So at some point, it comes up to a personal, thing where you have to be strong enough and you have to be smart enough to be like, I enjoy this, but is this actually what's best for me? And where's my focus at? Am I focused more about if random people throughout the world on the internet like me? Or am I more focused about performing to the best of my ability to make sure I'm absolutely 100% locked in to Manchester United and my career as a footballer? And I think that's just the struggle of today's society. And some people say you don't see this happen in other clubs, but at the end of the day, we're Manchester United. We're the biggest football club with the biggest amount of fans in the world. So it's always different. It's always different.
Fox and Mena would not start ahead of Valverde, Bellingham, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Goulier at Real Madrid. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. No, he wouldn't start over Valverde, and he wouldn't start over Bellingham. Yeah, and I don't think Tchouaméni or Camavinga. So yeah. This coach is too inflexible. He only knows a system, which isn't fit for EPL. A fact I told you after 30 minutes of his debut. Okay. He may very well be. But that's for him to die on. I know what he is. That's fine. He has his system. Now we can argue all day because he plays that one system. You can't change that one system. You can't alternate it. I think he can. I think he's done so in matches. I don't think it necessarily plays the same depending on what players we have on the pitch. I think it plays in different ways. Now, if that's not good enough for you in terms of flexibility, that's fine. But yeah, could very well be. But he's the guy and he's in charge, and he's gonna do what he wants. I'm just here watching. I'm just here along for the ride. If he fails, he fails. If he succeeds, and I'll be happy for him. But I know what he is. I know he's made it very abundantly clear. Doesn't mean that I necessarily agree with it, but I respect it to a certain level because he says this is what I am. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I understand it. I'm able to move on from that point, and we could keep going. So, yeah, Tuchel ain't coming. Tuchel's gonna be in England. So, and Tuchel ain't doing that well either. At England so far. So, they're going to stick with the worst coach in the history of the EPL. Yeah, I don't think he's the worst coach in the history of the EPL. Been worst coach for United in the EPL so far. But yeah. The whole team plays like shit. Have you seen the Guernsey match? I've watched all the matches. Obviously, the Guernsey match was a disgrace and it was shit. But we play again. Like I said before, there's moments and periods where we play very good, and I think we've improved in some aspects. But then we don't do it again. Like I've said, and this is the biggest problem that I have, is that I said for a year and a half under Eric Ten Hag that we don't put in 90-minute performances. And we're still doing it under Ruben Amorim. And it's a big problem because there in the matches we give a good 20-25 minutes where we actually look good. We create 22 chances. We only had like 4 on target, but we're creating 22 chances throughout the match. So it's not like we're struggling to necessarily create. We're struggling to convert, which is still an issue. Again, going back to Ten Hag, which is a problem because it was under one manager and it's under this manager, and we need to sort this out. But yeah, we've improved in some aspects, like the passing and attacking, like link up in like for a good periods in the matches is good. Like we look a lot sharper, we look a lot better. Even playing out of the back, we're better playing out of the back now than we were before. Are we elite? No. But are we better than what we were doing before? We are. We're actually able to actually get out of the back. Whereas before, we couldn't get out of the back. We'd get pinned in the back and we'd lose the ball immediately. We're actually able to play out of the back, get out of the back, and go up the field. So we're improving in areas. Other areas, we're still shit or not good enough, and we need to improve there. And then the places that we've improved, we obviously have to keep improving because we're not the elite team yet. So there's always room for improvement. But for me, the biggest thing is that we need to be able to do the 20-minute periods for 60, 70, 80 minutes. We cannot be doing 20 minutes like when we played at Fulham. We gave a good 20 minutes and then we fell the fucking apart. And then we were very disorganized, uh, sloppy for like a good 25, 30 minutes. Then you go start the second half, and it kind of carried over. Then you get a 10-minute period where it sort of comes back to life a little bit, and then it goes out the window again. Uh, we can't have that inconsistency. So we're not shit, I would say, but we're not great yet because we're somewhere in the middle of we go up, we go down. Because if you shit, you're not creating 22, 24 chances in a match. And this statistically, like one of the members bringing in the earlier in the show, um, and I think it was Magnifico. I mean, the stats show that we're creating chances, we're doing good in certain aspects, but it's just we're not sustaining it for the full match. So I think, again, I like to always break it down to the basic levels. There's probably three things. One, stop giving up cheap goals and stupid goals, like from the goalkeepers, from making shitty, dumb mistakes in terms of giving the ball away in like a really bad spot that you just don't do, or the goalkeepers literally just making the worst possible mistake they possibly could in a match. The other one is the attack, in that the attack has to click and the attack has to score. And we need to be scoring. We need to be scoring 2 to 3 goals a game. We need to be converting more chances. If we're creating 22 chances, we shouldn't have 4 shots on target with 22 chances. We should have like 8 at the very least. And if we have 8 shots on target, we should have like 2 to 3 goals. So we need, at the basic level, stop giving away shit goals. Start converting more of the chances that we're creating, because we're already creating chances. And then the third one would be keep the intensity of the periods where we play good for 15, 20 minutes, where we look like we're about to actually do something, where we actually look like when we start the game and it's the first 15 minutes in and you go, you know what? We're actually looking pretty good right now. We might actually create something out of here, get a goal, and we might, like, maybe this is where maybe we actually start. And then it dissipates, and then it comes back for a little bit. We got to sustain that level. So for me, at the basic levels, without going into too much analysis, just stop the shitty goals, cut them out, whatever you got to do, but just, they got to stop. Raise the intensity, raise this sustained period of the intensity through the match. We got to do it for longer and for a more consistent basis. And then the attack needs to score. We need to convert the chances. We need to convert the chances. How many times do I have to tell that we are constantly regressing under Amorim? I don't know. I mean, you could say as much as you want. I don't think we're necessarily regressing, because I think we regressed prior to that. So, I don't think you can regress. I don't think you can regress from what we like. How can you regress from last season? I don't think you can regress from last season. So last season we regressed, but we regressed because of the circumstances that were at play. I don't think we're regressing right now. I think we're improving under him playing his style. I think we're improving. So yeah. All our players are mispositioned. And how? How are they mispositioned? Who's mispositioned? The center backs are playing center back. Wing backs are playing wing back. The midfielders are playing midfielders, except for maybe Bruno. The 10s play the 10s, and we have a striker. So how are they mispositioned? Pity YouTube doesn't support GIFs. Yeah. We got stickers. Access his style and formation are unsuitable for EPL unless the center mids are world-class athletes. He literally needs 2 N'Golo Kantes for it to work. Well, maybe, but you know what? If that's the case, then I mean, we'll just end up finding out. You know what I mean? We'll end up finding out. if that's true. You know, uh, so we'll see. We'll see. I think he needed a midfielder, um, and I don't understand. I I said it before. I think they took a big gamble on not getting one. Because I think the circumstances this season, I think it's a 50-50 shot. I don't like gambling in the midfield. The midfield is your engine, and you need the midfield to be spot on because if it's your engine, there's no point in having a fucking Lamborghini if the engine is shit. Um, you know, looks like a very nice car, probably costs a good amount of money, but if the engine is crap, basically a fucking paperweight. Um, so I don't like that, but maybe they get away with it because either he figures out how to makes it work, which I don't know if he can with what we have, in terms of the dynamic, because it's between Bruno, Cass, Ugarte, and Meno, and I just don't know. I don't know what pairing you put in there and make it not what it is right now. So it's again, he's the manager. It's his job. You figure it out. Do something. You know what I mean? Do something. If you like, that's not for me to sit here and necessarily worry about. That's on him because at the end of the day, if he doesn't figure it out, he's gonna lose his job. So he's got to figure out how that's gonna work. The only thing that might save us, maybe saves him, maybe is that we're playing way less matches. Um, so maybe we get a little bit of a help from that, maybe, and maybe we're able to kind of squeeze by this season and do like good enough for him to stay, where it's not bad. You know, it's not an amazing season, but it's not a bad season. It does okay, and then they buy a midfielder for fucking 80 million, and he's world class. I don't know. Um, Steph's here. Sup, Steph? Says big up Eric and chat legends. How you doing, Steph? Hope you're doing well. Makan is here. Says hello, bro. Hello. How are you? Lila says we need social media clauses in contracts. I mean, it's all very well, but like I said before, like, how do you stop them from actually using it though? Like, you could do whatever you want, but like, let's just say, let's say I'm a player for Manchester United, right? I sign a contract, and in the contract they tell me I'm not allowed to use social media. I don't have access to my own account. If I make an account with my name, or they find out somehow, you know what I mean? That I have an account. I don't know. They find me, whatever. Suspend me. I don't know what the penalty would be. What stops me from going to my house, right? And going to like my wife's phone or my girlfriend's phone and hopping on her social media account and just looking at and just typing in, Eric, um, or typing in Red Devil Experience on X, and then looking at all the fucking people just talking shit, or going on Instagram and typing in my name and just looking at posts about it, and then going in the comment section and looking at it. Like, what? How does the club stop me from doing that? How does the club stop me from, like, I don't know, when I go out and it's like 6 p.m. on a Wednesday and I go out to dinner with some of my friends that have nothing to do with Manchester United. Maybe it's my mate from childhood, and he's got Twitter or he's got Instagram, and we're at the dinner table, and he's like, you seen this post? They said that you said this, and he shows it to them, and then you take his phone, and you start, yeah, can I see that for a second? And you start scrolling through all the shit, and you're looking at it. Or what stops you from getting a burner phone and making an account that says, United 123, with a picture of Daffy Duck in a United kit, and you go on there and you follow the Red Devil Experience, and you follow the United Stand, and you follow these other accounts, and they put something up, and then you comment as your own guy, and you're like, yeah, I really like so and so because he's a good player, and they're talking about themselves. Like, how do you stop that? Um, the only way you could do it is if you get a player that has discipline and self control. maybe I would ask them in the interview when going to sign them if they use social media or how they feel about social media, depending on their response and stuff like that. Because maybe some of them aren't into it, but maybe some of them are too into it. So, Steph says visibility is everything for youngsters, especially. Yep. Pick Parks Sports. If we give Ruben Amorim same time Gunners gave Arteta, he will win no more. He will win more trophies than Arteta. Well, yeah, but this. So I think it's a good point. I don't know if he'll win more trophies. I would like to say I hope he does, because I mean, what the fuck has Arteta won? But I mean, in terms of, I actually think, I'm not gonna lie. Well, I don't lie, but it's a figure of speech. You know what I mean? I actually think Ineos is looking at like what Arsenal have done, and I think a little bit of City and Liverpool as well. But they just the situation at United is giving me like vibes that there seems to be a lot of similarities between when Arteta came in, from the beginning of the Arteta period to where they've gone now. There seems to be a lot of similarities in certain situations between Arsenal and United. And this is why I'm saying I don't know if they would necessarily sack Ruben Amorim. It depends how bad it actually gets. But I think they don't like, for them to sack Ruben, it's like the last thing they want to do on this planet. They don't want to do it. And I think they will hold out as long as they can. And then on top of that, like, Arteta finished 8th, and then he finished 8th again. And when he finished 8th the second time, like, all their fans wanted him sacked. Pretty much. A lot of them. A big majority. They were like, he's not going to do it. He can't cut it. He needs to go. And they didn't sack him. And the third season, it really turned better. And then they stopped saying that. And then it got a little bit better. Now there's a little bit more pushback, because it's like, well, he's had about 5-6 years. He hasn't won anything. At what point do we say? So it's gone a little bit back. But that second year, at the end of the year, they were like all Arteta out. And they didn't sack him. And it kind of paid off. And I feel like, depending on how this season actually goes, like, if we're in 15th, I think they'll sack him. If we're in 8th, I think for the fans will probably say it's unacceptable and he needs to be sacked. But I think if he gets anywhere from 8th up, I think they'll probably stick with him. And they'll probably go against the majority of the people who are probably going to end up saying that he needs to be sacked. Because I don't think they want to sack him. I think they need this to work. I think they're quite well aware. And I think what they absolutely don't want to do is sack another manager in the middle of a season. I think they absolutely don't want to sack Ruben in like a December and having to go get another manager. Also, I don't think they like interims. So I don't think it's I don't think it's something that they would like to do. So if they were to sack him, they'd have to get a replacement. And they're going to get a permanent one. So we're going to repeat the process probably in a similar way again. In that, if they do have to sack him, they're going to go and they're going to get a permanent manager. They're not going to get an interim for the remainder of the season. They might have an interim temporarily for a couple weeks till they get somebody in, but I think they would go for a permanent. So I don't think it's something they necessarily want to do. I think they believe in this, and they want to give the guy as much time as possible. Also, I think they feel, not for nothing, but I think they feel kind of culpable. And I think they've accepted some of the responsibility of what had went down last season as well. So I think in terms of from the Ineos standpoint, maybe not from the fan standpoint, but from the Ineos standpoint, I feel like that they have accepted that some of the way last season went with the way that we've lost so many games and we had our worst finish and stuff like that. I think they've actually themselves taken a large portion of the responsibility of that, and I don't think they blame him for that. Um, which is when it comes to their dynamic and their relationship, that buys him a lot of points. Now, it's not the same on the fan side, because if you don't like him, you blame him for all of that shit. If you do like him, then you don't blame him for all of that shit. But it's one way or the other. I think with Ineos to Ruben, I think they've taken a brunt of that blame. I think they've probably told them, like, the circumstances that happened last season, we take a lot of responsibility for that. We forced you in here. I mean, you remember he wanted to finish the season. It's not really a normal thing. I don't think he was necessarily ready for it. But he took the opportunity and he did it because it wasn't going to come again. So yeah, I just think that I think he, I think they don't, I think they'll be very, I think they're going to be very resistant. If it gets to a position where it looks like they might have to sack him or maybe they should sack him, I think it's going to be a place where it's very resistant because I don't think that they want to do it. And sort of like similar to that's what brings us on here. Similar to Arteta and Arsenal. I mean, the Arsenal fans, the second year, they were like 75%. I mean, they were printing shirts that said Arteta out. Now the club, the hierarchy, went against the wishes of the fans. They didn't sack him. They kept him there. They backed him again in the upcoming, in that upcoming window. They got rid of more players. They bring more players in, and the third season is when it kicked off. So I could see them doing this as well. I don't know if it'll go the same way, but what I'm saying is I could see them potentially being at a point where, like, he's maybe lost more support. It hasn't gone as well as people hoped. Maybe like more people are accepting that, yeah, maybe he should get sacked, or it's over. And Ineos just kind of refusing to do so. And sort of doubling down into the next season to see where you could go from there. So we'll see how it goes. But I believe that you are just going on wishful thinking. Look at the facts. Lowest winning rate since Sir Alex Ferguson left. How can you back this man? How can I back this man? Because he's in charge of the football club, and he is the current manager of Manchester United. And I need him to do good so that our team does good, so that we're not shit. And also, the grass is not always greener on the other side, like we've always seen. Just because we get rid of Amorim doesn't mean that it can't get worse. So there's no guarantee that when you sack Ruben, we're gonna be better. Just like there was no guarantee. And it wasn't the only problem when we said Rashford had to go, or when fucking, Ronaldo was the problem and we had to get rid of Ronaldo, or whoever else was the problem that everybody said was the problem, which I always said they're a problem and not the problem because there's a distinct difference. I back the manager to do good. That's what I want. I want to see the manager do good. I'm under no illusion. I don't think I've ever said that I don't think I've ever sat here and said that he is. I don't think I've ever looked at the camera and said he is definitely going to succeed. I don't think I've ever said, Axe, you don't know what you're talking about. He's gonna win everything. He's gonna be the best manager since the creation of football. He's a tactical genius. He's a masterclass. He's the next prodigy for the next 25 years. I've never said that. All I'm saying is he's in charge. I would like my football club to get to a period of sustainability where I don't have to keep sacking a fucking manager and starting over again. And I just want him to try and do his best job, and I hope it works out for him. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And I'm just here along for the ride. Because whether I say Ruben out or Ruben in, guess what? I got no power. If I go Ruben out and I'm here every day and we're going live and I'm doing a 2-hour stream and I'm screaming at the camera, fuck Ruben Amorim, get him out of my club because he's a donkey and he doesn't know anything. What does that accomplish? What did I accomplish? Did I get him sacked? Is he gonna remove himself? Because Eric from the Red Devil Experience says that he's a dickhead that doesn't know what he's doing. No. And I don't think it's a very good situation either for the football club. I keep saying it. For the manager to fail means that our project has failed, our club has failed, and then it puts us in a position where we are very disorganized once again. I would like the club to get to a point where there's some sustainability. So all I'm saying is Ruben has a bunch of shit that he has to figure out. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He might not be able to do it. I hope he does do it because he needs to. And I would like to see him succeed. Because if he succeeds, our club succeeds, our players are good, I'm fucking happy, you're happy, and so is everybody else. Except for the ones that have an agenda. They'll never be happy. But I just want the guy to do good. I'm not saying it's 100% guaranteed, but where we are, he's 3 games in. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. You want to argue probability, how likely it is to happen, it's a different story. I mean, life is crazy. He could go on a 10-game winning streak. He could go on a 15-game winning streak. When we come back from the international break. Is it going to happen? Probably not, but it can. He could finish, maybe somehow we finish 4th this season. Is it a highly likely probability? No. I don't think anybody's saying that. But it's there. It's there until it's not there. And I'm okay. I'm the type of person, I am okay with going along for the ride to see how it plays out. I'm okay with watching how things unfold. I'm fine with that. If it succeeds, it succeeds. If it fails, you go, you know what? We let it go. We gave it a shot. There are 0 doubts. 0. Absolutely 0 doubts. There's no room. Listen, if he fails and we've given him every opportunity, I have no problem with it because I'd be like, you know what? It didn't work out, and obviously I'm not happy about that because I don't think it's a good situation for the football club. But at the same time, I can't sit here and be like, but they didn't get him this player, or, if only they did this, or, if only we had a couple more opportunities. Like, we let him go with it. It doesn't succeed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts then. But I'm okay with going to the point until it says that it's no longer tenable. I'm okay with giving the person the opportunity and the rope to get to the end until you run out of rope. I don't need to be the person that's like, you have 50 feet of rope, and then when they get to 30 feet of rope, be like, yeah, you know what? You got 20 more feet of rope, but you're probably just going to get to the end of the rope and then fall off. So I might as well just cut it here. I don't need to do that. I'm okay. Go for the road. I like to be surprised. I like to see what happens. If you're shit, you lose. That's what the team has been doing under Amorim. End of discussion. Oh yeah, okay. That's what the team did under Eric Ten Hag. That's what the team did under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's what the team did under Jose Mourinho. That's what the team did under Van Gaal. Now, some of them, they won some trophies. Mourinho won the UEL, stuff like that. But for the most part, especially when it comes to the league, we've had, 5-6 managers? They're all shit because they all lost. They didn't win the league. So all our managers have all been shit because they didn't win. They didn't win the league. So they're all shit. They finished 6th, they finished 4th, they finished 8th. They're all shit. So it is what it is. So with our track record, And what you're saying, we're never gonna win. So I don't even understand why you want a new manager, because our track record with managers is horrendous. So why does it even matter? It doesn't matter. Keep on Amorim, sack on Amorim, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We won't win with Amorim. We're not gonna win with the next guy anyway, because all the managers, they're all shit because they lose. Um, and they haven't won. So it is what it is. Niche fan. Niche fan says liked. Niche fan. Can you read my all-time United 11, please? Sure. If you want. Yeah. Okay. Um, we can't be a first 20-minute team. Come on, we have been over this under Eric Ten Hag. But that's my argument. I agree with you, Axe. 110%. But that's what I'm saying. We can't. He has to figure it out. Now, I will sit here for the next couple months, and it is his job to make sure that we're not a first 20-minute team. And but I understand the circumstances of that. If he can't figure that out, then it's going to fail. And I'm okay with that, because that just means that it's not going to work. But I'll give you the opportunity. Go ahead. You got the next 4 months of football. Show me what you got. Show me where we're going to be. Show me what we're doing. Show me that you can improve in some areas. Go ahead. Go ahead. I have no problem. Go ahead. I'm not one that's going to cut you out early. Go ahead. Do it. Because as far as I'm concerned, we ain't really got anything to lose anyway. Like I said before, we could sack him right now. There's no guarantee. I don't know what manager they're going to get in. They could get somebody that's just as bad. They could get somebody that's fucking worse. And you think that they can't possibly be worse, but as we keep saying, we've said the past like 3 seasons, we can't go any lower, and somehow we seem to go lower. So I'm just at the point in my United career as a fan that I'm kind of just bored of the whole thing. I'm tired of seeing the manager sacked. I want somebody to actually have some sustainability. I hope it can be him, but I'm not gonna go crazy. Just like he's there. If he does good, he'll be able to keep his job. If he does bad, he'll lose his job at some point. But the powers that be decide that he's no longer, tenable. So we'll see. We will see. But yeah, we can't be a first 20-minute team. And I said that before. It happened under Ten Hag, and it's happening under him. It's a problem. It is an issue. That's why he's getting paid. He's got to figure it out. If he can't figure it out, he'll probably lose his job, because I don't think that's sustainable in the long run. Niche fan says 43 United all time. Van der Sar, Evra, Vidic, Stam, Valencia Park, McTominay, Bruno, Jemba Rooney, CR7. I thought you were gonna be serious. Listen, I like Van der Sar very much. You could probably go in between Van der Sar, Schmeichel. Evra, very good, but Dennis Law. Vidic, yeah. I mean, absolute fucking warrior. We've had many great center backs as well. Stam, of course, obviously. Then Valencia, yeah, I wouldn't put Valencia there. Although I did like him, but I wouldn't put Valencia there. Park, I like Park, but I wouldn't put Park there either. And I wouldn't put McTominay. Bruno, I wouldn't even put Bruno there, as much as I like Bruno. Jemba, you're having a laugh. Rooney, I agree with. And that's one of my favorite players of all time. And then of course CR7. I'd probably give it. I'll be honest. I probably give it a 5, bro. Just for the Jemba, dude. And McTominay. He gets a 5. But yeah. What are we on? 2.5 hours. All right, we gotta get going. I'll finish up Axe's comments and we'll get out of here. Time is this? Okay. Actually, yes, but we ain't Arsenal for the good. How many has Arteta won? If it won't gel at United. Arsenal have been world class second runners forever. The social pressure is immense. Yeah, I get what you mean, but I mean, I'd rather be where Arsenal is right now than where we are right now. So if we could get to at least that very much point, and I've been saying in terms of Arsenal, and I tell all my Arsenal friends, and I tell them, I'm like, you guys have to make a decision because I keep saying, at what point do you say, listen, you did good to build this up to where you are now, but clearly you can't get the job over the line. So at what point do you sack somebody like Arteta and try to get somebody that can take you to the next, over the line? Um, I'm just trying to get some sustainability. I mean, this is supposed to be like the beginning of the project. I think this needs to kind of go well. I don't want to see it fail. I think it's going to be. I think if it fails, it's going to be quite detrimental to us. So I'm hoping that shit works out. I'm not saying that it is, and I'm not like naive. I'm not pretending like everything is okay. I know we have a lot of problems, and I honestly, it's probably more likely to fail than it is to succeed. But there's still an opportunity, as of right now, at this moment, for it to be good and not be bad. The things haven't happened yet. It's sort of like last season. Like, we had the opportunity, even though the Prem was kind of shit, there was still an opportunity where it'd be like, okay, we just had our worst Prem season ever, but there was the opportunity to win the Europa League, get in the Champions League, get a little bit extra money. We didn't do it, but up until that point, we had to get there. And we did all right to get there, but we didn't get over the line. And now it's sort of the similar circumstance. Like, it's probably more likely to fail than to succeed, but we haven't gone through it yet. So let's go through it, because maybe somehow it actually fucking succeeds, and we'll be in a better place for it. Um, so yeah, I just think that now is the time. Kind of in the United spirit, it's time. It's time to sit up or sit down, pretty much. If he's going to figure it out, he's going to have to do it quite quick, because I don't think, in terms of from the fan perspective, I don't think he has a lot of leeway. Um, you know, like, at some point, him doing those things, and maybe to some people are ready, but for the majority wide, um, him coming out when we're not winning matches and apologizing to the fans, like, to some people that's already gotten old, and then to more people it will get old, and it'll come quickly, and you will lose support. So, backs against the wall, you're at United, and our club is a history with one that you either sink or you swim in these moments and times. And the great ones, the ones that have had a long career here, the ones that whose names are remembered in the history, and have outlived time, they are the ones that swam, um, when it was a time like this. And the ones that are not remembered, and the ones that have failed, they have sunk at this time. So I think it's really basic, right? It's just sink or swim for him right now. And I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit excited to see how it goes. I kind of like these things. It's kind of like a story. It's kind of like an opera in a way. You know, there's drama. You don't know how it's gonna go. Sometimes you're surprised. Sometimes you're not surprised. Sometimes it goes exactly the way you see it. But I'm just up for it. I want to see how it goes. Um, but I hope he figures it out. I hope he gets shit to work. So, you have forgotten our core values. I did not. I am well aware of the core values. What I'm doing is I'm quite well aware of our current situation and our current um problems and issues that where we are at a football club. So our core values cannot apply to the situation that we're in because we're not near that. And maybe you argue that we have to go back to those, and that's very fine. I would say the same, but we need to get out of the situation that we're in right now. Um, so we need to win. Yes, we do. This project with Amorim as head coach will never succeed is absolutely obvious by now. Fine. He is more than 8 months in. Yeah, cool. Our worst EPL manager until now. Fact. Okay. The longer he stays, the worse things get. Okay. Look at Chelsea. They found a good manager. Look at Liverpool. Yes, their circumstances were bro. Ineos picked the wrong person. Obviously, better get rid of him faster. We already endured half a season of fucking pain. Well, that's fine. You know, I'm one that I can endure a lot. I can endure a lot. So I'm fine. I'm fine. You know, it's not built for the weak, man. You gotta be strong. Gotta be strong. Gotta be strong. Yeah, I don't know. Look at Chelsea. They found a good manager. After how many managers? After how many managers? After how much money did they spend? Maybe he's not it, but maybe he'll get sacked. But again, I just I just don't see it. Like you sack this guy, it's fine, but you tell me who we're gonna get, and you tell me how well that's gonna go. Because I'm quite tired of it. Like you know, at this point, I don't. At this point, I really don't give a shit. I don't. In terms of the manager, like you know, if this doesn't work out and it ends, I don't care. I'm not getting in I'm not getting in a debate. Um, I'm not even going to give a preference on who I want. I'm not going to say get this guy or got to be this guy. You know, at that point, I'll just tell you, you know what, get whoever the fuck you want. And I hope it works, dude. That's all I say, because we've been through 5 or 6 of them already. None of them have worked, and we get to the point now where we're here once again, and everybody goes, and we got to attack the manager. And they swear that we get rid of him and it'll be better, and it won't be better because it hasn't been better. So I don't know. Why does it matter? You know, why does it matter? Why does it matter? But that's why I keep saying, like, it really doesn't matter. Like, you keep him here, it doesn't work. You sack him. What manager are you getting? Who are you getting that's gonna come in here and is gonna make this shit work? Because I can't think of one person on this planet that's going to make it happen in the amount of time that people want it to happen. I don't think so. I don't see it happening. You know what I mean? I don't see it happening. So, which current player gets into the 08 or 99 team, says Grace? Diego Dolo. Current player. One player. I would probably I would say Bruno, but I wouldn't put I would, but Bruno wouldn't be starting. I would say, I think, but also like the thing is about that, it's like kind of hard because especially if you go to the 99 team, like Bruno doesn't, he wouldn't, the way he plays, like maybe it would go well for that, but um maybe it will go well. Maybe the football was a little bit more fucking suited at the time, but I think in terms of just the consistency and how long and how the impact that he's had since he's been here, I think he's probably the only one that kind of merits being mentioned for that. But I will be honest, and I would say, like, I don't think in the 08 team or the 99 team, I don't think he would be I don't think he would be necessarily a starter. I think he would be part of the squad, like in the team. I think you could put him in the team. Like I think you could have him on the bench. I think that's a fair shout. But I don't think you can say he's so good that he would deserve to start in the 99 team that won the treble or even the 08 team. Um so and then everybody else is kind of like, yeah, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Um, you know, maybe potentially depending on how their career goes, maybe like an Embuemo or something like that, or a Diallo or some shit. Depending how they develop from here, maybe that's one for like the future. But like at this moment, current in time, I think the only one that you could probably say is Bruno. Um, yeah, really see it. Um, Lyle says no matter the manager, some of this fan base will not be happy. We can literally win the league. And if we lose the opening match in the new season, the part of the fan base will say manager out. Yeah, probably. That's what I mean. That's in like all fan bases as well. I think just people need to like. I just really always hold out on being manager out, and I've done it for every manager. I mean, before we knew each other, so obviously you wouldn't know, but like I was very like I was a Mourinho out to like till I couldn't be like not Mourinho out. You know what I mean? I mean, I was Mourinho in till I couldn't be Mourinho in anymore. Like it was basically, I think it was like the Liverpool match, and he kind of lost it for me. Um, and I was still like, I don't know, because I kind of felt like a lot of shit was fucked up at that time, and I was like, the football's not good. And I was like, I didn't agree with some of the shit that he did. Like, I didn't agree the way he handled the Shaw situation. I didn't like that he was necessarily fighting with Pogba in that certain way. Um, and I didn't really like the football, but at the same time, I'm like, there's a lot of fucked up circumstances, and I don't think it's necessarily good. Um, then we got Ali, um, Ali all the way until you really couldn't. I think they fucked over Ralph real bad, and I don't understand how half this fan base or a large section of the fan base is anti Ralph Ranić because they were like he's the worst coach manager, and I was like, well, when the fuck was he supposed to be a manager? Um, that wasn't his job. Job was interim, assess the squad, go upstairs, and build a new squad. And somehow we have people in our fan base that are like, if you go on social media and you type in Ralph, what they did to Ralph is a disgrace. You have people defending the fucking Glazers and the CEO saying that Ralph was the shit manager and he shouldn't have stayed. And it was like, when was he a manager? Where did you get the understanding that he was going to be the manager? Now, if they were going to do that, that's on the hierarchy because they're fucking idiots. But the original plan that they told us was he is going to be interim to analyze and evaluate the squad, and then he goes upstairs and he's going to help build the new squad with the new manager. And because he came out and he said open heart surgery, they were like, nope, get the fuck out. Then they bring in Ten Hag. And it didn't work. And now we have Ruben. I don't know. Glass half empty people. Well, I get it, Lyle. I get it because people have been let down too many times. Um, so I get why people turn half empty people, glass half empty. I get it because you know some people they choose, if you expect nothing, you can't really be let down. You know what I mean? So, but I always, I mean, to each their own, and you could do whatever you want. I don't like to personally get into somebody's personal things like that and try and dictate how they live their life. I just say, for me personally, I don't like doing that because I think that's the easy way out. in a personal standpoint. It's not a dig at anybody or anything like that. It's just me personally. I view it as the easy way out. You know, it's easier to show up to things and say I'm not gonna win, so that when you don't win, you walk away and you say, "Yeah, see, I knew I wasn't gonna win. It was obvious." You know what I mean? And you walk away, and you think it makes you feel a little bit better because your expectations weren't so high, so the fall wasn't so hard. You know what I mean? But at the end, really, it probably makes it worse because not only did you not have the strength to believe, you gave up before you even started, and then you also failed. You know, I don't like. So I just don't like that. I don't agree with giving up before you even tried. Um, and that's why I don't really like that whole philosophy of the less you expect, the less you're let down by people or hurt. In a sense, it's true, but I don't personally agree with it. I don't. Southgate will fix us. Listen, considering that we're in a simulation, Grace, at this point, I'm starting to think that if we got Gareth Southgate, we'll win the treble. I think the simulation is simulating. Um, and I think at this moment in time, considering everything that we're like, yeah, do this, and you know we'll be all right, and we'll be okay. Um, it just seems like everybody's like, yeah, if we get Gareth Southgate, that's a terrible fucking idea. Let's not do that. But the way the simulation is simulating, if we get Gareth Southgate, somehow we'll end up winning the fucking treble. So I don't know. At this point, bring him up, get the Waste Coast ready, fucking, you know, get them custom ones, get ones in red, um, and get them ready. We might need them. We might need them. Um, Grace says swap one of the players we bought for a player you would have bought in another position. Swap one of the players we bought. Like right now, like this season. That's kind of tough because I think we kind of needed all the players. For me, the one thing that I would swap, and it's not that I don't like him, because it's not that I don't think he's like he can't be good or useful. And it's not exactly to what you're saying, Grace, but the only thing that I could kind of get to that point is I would say the one swap that I would do, and I think one of the mistakes that that Ineos did was I would have I would have gotten João Neves instead of getting Ugarte. I think if we had João Neves right now instead of Ugarte, I think our midfield situation would be way better, way better. Because I think João Neves is actually probably what we need in the midfield. Um, and if it was one swap I could do out of the transfers that Ineos has done so far, I would. It's the same position, but I would have gotten Neves. I think it was a mistake. He's not really a six though. Um, he is, but he isn't. But I just think he's a lot more well-rounded race than Ugarte is. Um, I think he would be. I think we would be in a better position with him there. I think they fucked that one up. I do. I think you know, Neves to me, he does a little bit of everything. He's not a specialized six. You're right. That's not like his main thing. But when I look at it right now, I'm like, had Neves, he could get away with fucking doing a Bruno Neves type thing. I don't know how that'll go. I don't think Bruno necessarily fit. Um, and maybe Even if he maybe did a Kobe Neves in the midfield. No, who said he's Rodri? Everyone kept saying he's Rodri. He's nothing like him. He's an all. Yeah, he's not. He's not Rodri. No, whoever said he's Rodri is crazy. Um, whoever said he's Rodri, they clearly didn't fucking. They didn't watch him at Benfica. They were probably watching fucking YouTube compilations or some shit. Ain't no way he's Rodri, bro. He's not Rodri because he's not a defensive specialist. Like you're saying, he's like an all around 8. Like he's more of an all arounder type of guy. He's not. There's no way. He tucks his shirt in though. I kind of like that though. I kind of like that though. It's a little bit old school, you know. Bring it back. They got the youngin tucking in the shirt. Like, come on, he's showing a bit of class. It's a bit of class, a little old school class, you know. Tucks it in because he means business. You know, he goes onto the pitch. He means business. Oh, I'm sorry about Mark Harris. I skipped his comment. He said Amorim in crisis counseling talks with Delo and Bruno. Delo wants more of the left side of the bed. Is that the cooler side of the bed? The left side of the bed? Well, there's a problem though, because you know, where does Grace fit in that? Hello can be in my bed. See, this is what I'm saying. It's just gonna swap. We're gonna swap her out. We're gonna. He doesn't need the left side of the bed. He could just take Grace's. He could just take Grace's half. He'll get even more space. Well, says, yeah, folks have been let down. Sure, but don't come at some of us who will support something until the end. Getting called all kinds of names like apologists, etc. It's super annoying. Yeah, I know. You just got to deal with it, dude. Gotta understand some people are just like that, man. You know, is what it is. At the end of the day, you gotta listen. There's loads of people like that in the world, and you can spend your time fighting them, arguing them. You can even spend your time trying to make them understand, or in a way trying to convert them. It's all kind of pointless. At the end of the day, you know, you make your point, and then you kind of got to understand that. Listen, they are who they are, and they're gonna be the way they are. And you just kind of got to walk away knowing the person you are. You know what I mean? And what they think or what they say, you know, it's their opinion and they're allowed to have it. But as long as you know who you are and what you stand for, then it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like there could be, you know, some people out there in your life, maybe, you know, your acquaintances, or they just generally know of you. And they could hold the opinion that you're a bad person. Um, you know, there's some people out there that they spend all their time trying to convince these people, not a bad person. Actually, you're the bad person. Or you know, you just got it wrong. They spend all their time trying to convince it, and it's all worthless. It's worthless. At the end of the day, if you know who you are, and you know what you do, and you know what you stand for, um, you just let that shit roll off of your back, you know, and that's it. And you keep it pushing, and you keep it moving. Because listen, they're entitled to their opinions, just like you'll have your opinions. It's just all about how you kind of manage it, you know. So they could say what they want, and they technically have the right to say and call you kind of what you want, and you might not like it, but if you just keep pushing because you know who you are and you know what you stand for, it becomes less of a big deal. You know what I mean? Um, doesn't Roger do that? I think Roger does tuck in his shirt as well. I think he does. Is that why they don't tell me that's why they were saying next Roger Grace? Because he tucks in his fucking shirt like Rodri. The game's gone. Game's gone. Game's gone. If that's what's happening. Yeah, Delo can be in your bed. Yeah, we knew that. I knew that one was coming. Mark Harris says should have gone in for Grealish on loan and Donnarumma. United playing with project players again. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone for Grealish. I don't like Grealish. I would have gone for Donnarumma. Um, I definitely would have gone for Donnarumma. I think City getting Donnarumma is a steal. I think it was there for a steal. The only problem was the wages, because his wages are quite high, and it is sort of an issue. But I mean, I think again for an argument for a player like Donnarumma at his age, with his ability and his experience already, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Donnarumma like 25 only? Like, bro's got another fucking 10 years top of what he's already done. Um, and you could get him for 30 million. I think it was a bargain. And I think actually, I think if you're gonna do it for one player or something, um, I think there's no way you couldn't convince the rest of the squad in a group dynamic and be like, dude, listen, we have to break the wage structure just a little bit for this guy, because I mean he's fucking he's 26. So Bruno ears will take up too much room. Liverpool and West Ham turned down Amorim due to his one formation. Go figure. Is that a fact though? Well, I know like they were talking about it, but I don't know if I don't know if it's due to the one formation thing. Um, maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know what the exact reason was. I remember that Liverpool was talking about West Ham as well. I don't really know what the outcome of that was. Did anyone find the ball that Bruno kicked over the Fulham Stadium for the penalty? No, it's still on its way up. It's still going up. So it's expected to come down next year. So we'll get it back eventually. Mark says it ended up in Northern Ireland. Gray says Amorim wanted Watkins or Martinez because he knows he don't have 2 to 3 years to spend coaching these players. Yeah, but that's. I mean, it's a good point, and I think that's why he was pushing for experience, because I think he understands the circumstance. So listen, it's one thing to be at Sporting Lisbon in the Portuguese league. It's another thing to come to Manchester United, have the start you have, with the pressure you have and the expectations. And I think he understands that. Like, again, he's not stupid. Like, I don't know if you guys like actually, some people they do, some people they don't. It's whatever. But like, I listen to the guy fucking speak. Like, I literally watch and I've done this for every manager, but I literally watch every single press conference. And after the match, you know how they give like 3 different post-match talks to like 3 different networks. Like, I watch every single one of them because they generally say the same thing, but sometimes they say something a little bit differently. I listen to what he says, and when you listen to him speak, you can understand. He understands the concept. He understands. Like, it's not like he's naive about the situation he's in. So I think 100%. I think you're right. Like, he wanted these more experienced players because the ones with less experience, they're not as reliable, and he understands that he's in a position that he knows he needs to get points. He knows he needs to do well, otherwise he's gonna lose his job. But at the same time, then you got Ineos like, well, we're going for the project, and this is the thing that I've kind of been saying. So Ineos has to be doing things and making moves that it's not in the benefit or the betterment of the manager at the current moment alone, because that's just us doing the same as we've been doing for quite some time. You know what I mean? It needs to be workable with the current manager, but it also has to be with the long-term plan of and the future of the club. And I think that's what's happening, because it's not like they bring in a bunch of players that he can't necessarily use. But what they've done is they brung in players that are going to or could potentially be here at least for the next 5+ years, at least. Um, Whereas if you get somebody like Martinez and Watkins, they're not gonna be here for the next 5 years. And Ruben wanted the more experienced players because he knows he doesn't have as much time. Whereas the hierarchy are like, yeah, but you know what, Ruben, we're helping you out and we're giving you options and we're giving you tools. But at the end of the day, it ain't all about you because if this shit doesn't work out, we need to look for our future. So I think that's what's happening at the football club. I think that's the proper way and order of things anyway. So, he might have wanted those experienced players, but sometimes you got to make, got to make lemonade out of fucking, I don't know what the saying is. Get oranges and make lemonade, whatever the fuck it is. Sometimes you got to do what you made with the hand that you dealt. So, um, opinions on Amorim, says Peter Bradley. Well, give us yours. What's your opinion on Amorim, Peter? Liza says, calling tonight, Eric. All right, buddy. Got to wake up early for rugby game. Ooh, fancy. South Africa versus New Zealand. Oh, in New Zealand. One of the biggest games in the on the rugby calendar. Yeah, that's it's like your local derby. Um, but not really. But yeah, I get it. So I'll see you later. Have a good night, Lyle. Thank you for stopping by. We're gonna get out of here soon too, because I'm dying of sweat. I don't know if you could see, but it is extremely hot. Got too many lights on me. But Peter's here. I'll give Peter a chance if he wants to give his opinion real quick. He said I spelled that wrong, but the gaffer, I mean. Nah, we know what you mean. Amorim. Did you spell it wrong? Amorim. You spelled it right. I mean, I'll give you mine if you want, but you could give us yours if you're still here. I don't know. Um, General opinions on the gaffer, on Ruben Amorim. I did listen. He's a young guy. He's struggled since he's come here. I don't think he has a very, very, very difficult task. Um, they've done what they needed to do in terms of backing him, in terms of having a decently good summer transfer window. I think it's gone more well than we were led to believe in the beginning, especially after we lost the Europa League and we weren't in Europe. Shortly after that, it just seemed like the sky was falling and it's all over because how are we going to buy players? We bought players. He's had a preseason. I think I feel a little bit like him because I think we've looked sort of sharp in certain areas, and I think especially more with him because he knows because he's on the training pitch. I think they've had sort of a decently good preseason, and we looked all right, but we have started the season off not that great. I'm happy that he's gotten the win on the Burnley, but I mean, listen, it was by the slightest of margins, and sometimes you live or die by that in football. So I don't really have that much of a problem. So some of my friends that are United fans, they were like, "Yeah, but like we got lucky because we got the penalty, and it was the last, second of the game or the last minute of the game." And if it wasn't for that, he would have dropped more points. And I was like, yeah, but sometimes you live or die by that in football. You know what I mean? Sometimes that makes or breaks you. So as far as I'm concerned, and especially at this point of the season, we got 3 points and we got that win, and it was important because it's kept us in so far. After was to me a disappointing loss to Arsenal because I felt like they didn't really do enough or a lot to really win that game, and we gave them a goal, and we basically gave them the game. They came to Old Trafford, first match of the season. We gave them the goal, and then they just had to do their thing as a very strong defensive team that they are. And they held out. And then the Fulham game was just not great. Second game vibes, and it's gonna happen. Um, but he is a tough job, and I think it's just time for him to step up. It's time for him to step up or step down, pretty much. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I think he's kind of he divides opinion for me a little bit because what he says, it sounds good, and I agree with a lot of the shit that he says, and the things that he says makes me feel like he understands the football club and what this football club needs and what we have to do to get to where we want to go. And some of his mentality and his thinking, I agree with a lot of the core principles that he believes in. But at the end of the day, you got to get the results. And it's the results is the one that it's been. Sometimes we play good for a good amount of period, and then we just crumble. And really, I'm just tired of the inconsistency in that aspect. So I hope he figures it out. He has an opportunity in front of him, just like Ineos had an opportunity in front of them for the summer window to make amends for some of the shit that people didn't like or the things that they were doing, and even partially the situation they created last season. Um, and I think they sort of did their job to make as much as of an amends or correct things in the best possible way they could in the summer window. And now I think it's Ruben's turn to do the same. I think he has an opportunity right now in his hands. Hasn't it could have started better because we could have had maybe 2 wins and a draw or something like that instead of 1 win. But I think he has an opportunity right now to sort of correct a lot of the misfortunes and poor results and stuff like that from last season. So I hope he does it. I still think he can do it, but I'm under no illusions that it can fail and it can go very, very wrong very, very quickly. This football, I've seen it happen before too many times, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens again. So yeah, we'll be keeping an eye out on what's happening. I mean, it is international break, so it is going to be a little bit slow. Trying to think. We'll probably come back for another show. Probably next week, probably on like a Monday or something. I'll keep you guys posted, for sure. So thank you to everybody that's tuned in and jumped in. Shout out to anybody that's new subscriber. If you're new and you did subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell icon so you don't miss a live. You get notified that when we go live and don't miss a show. And then you're always in here because we like to have you in here. So if you did do that, thank you for subscribing. Shout out to all the people that hit the like button. We appreciate you on that because that is a massive help to the channel. So shout out to everybody that did smash the like button. Shout out to all the OGs that have been here since the beginning, carrying the show and stuff like that. Always getting involved, always bringing good opinions and good insight. So yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it very much. We'll speak very, very soon. And by the way, if you have Discord and you want to join our Discord, it's free and all that. There is the link. I think it's in the channel description. So in the channel bio, if you click on the channel, somewhere in the bio, there should be a link for the Discord. And I will also be dropping the Discord link in the comment section as soon as I end this video. So if you want, you could jump in there because it's the best way to stay updated. I can keep you up to date in real time. I mean, we can message each other directly and stuff, but we also have many channels in there with the news. We were doing the transfer news with the transfer window. Now that's over for now. But latest news updates, match days sort of stuff. We chat with each other while the match is live and stuff like that as well. So it's good stuff. And it's just a good place for you to connect with the other channel members as well. You know, you don't need me to have a conversation about United, so good place. So if you want to join that, you can, and I'll drop that in. But other than that, everybody have, you know, a good night or a good morning, or you know, wherever you're watching. Stay safe, be good. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. It's good to be back in our normal settings. And we'll see each other and speak to each other very, very soon. I'm probably shooting for Monday. I don't. I mean, we could probably do a show tomorrow, but I mean, there ain't much to talk about right now. It's very quiet. So, the closer we get back to next weekend, the closer we'll start getting more news and stuff like that, and more topics, and you know, we'll start having a look, um, and like a preview for the Manchester City match and all that sort of stuff for the derby and stuff. So, yeah, everybody take care. Thank you. Have a good night, and we'll speak very, very soon.